You are now entering Maximum Driftcast, the only drifting podcast hosted by a Spanish soccer mom, a 30-year-old silver-haired fox going on 60, and finally, a 200-pound bowl of spaghetti with chimichanga arms.
The champions, we are the champions.
And it's another week with your squadrons.
That's us.
That would be us too. And, not us four
Us
for
four.
today,
Yeah.
because your brother Sam ended up flying a plane to Jacksonville, Florida.
Yeah, for those who
for
don't know,
his-
Sam also flies planes.
Sam is the pilot. He's been flying for Hot Dog Airlines for the past 4 years, and he's going to be slinging spaghetti in Florida, so he won't be here this week with us. So sorry for you guys that are patiently waiting for Sam's interruptions. Hopefully you guys will have him next week. But the nice thing is now that we have a studio here that's not in Paco's house,
Totally not.
we could actually bring people to your house, Paco.
It's not my house,
I mean,
Corey.
they bring it to
The
your studio.
Yeah.
God, every single time I keep
Wow.
forgetting that we're not in your house.
Yeah. I built this brick wall with my bare hands. You know, like these calluses right here is because of that.
Laying
the
laminate brick wall.
Yeah,
just-
the laminate brick wall is hard.
I bet I just tore up your hands.
Yeah, there's only one nail on each one.
I just had to tap it and glue it in.
I
Sprinkle.
put like a glue stick on the back.
Just Elmer's, you
Yeah.
and Elmer's glue between smelling it and wiping on the back. Took you like 4 days.
Yeah.
You munch on some of it while you're doing it.
Yep.
So anyways, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Maximum Driftcast. And we haven't done this in a while. The only drifting podcast that hangs up fake brick walls that's in a studio that's not Paco's house.
That's not Paco's house, yeah.
Awesome. We haven't done that in a while, have we?
Dude, we've been missing the intros, and I've been trying to say that. Like, come on, guys, where's the intro?
I do miss Storytime intro as well. If you guys go back to
Storytime
previous
was good.
and
Story time was fun.
yeah, if you go back to the first generations of about the episodes, we were actually trying to figure out what would be the best way to start a show, like as of breaking the ice with you guys. Because at first we're like, I don't know, should we do an intro? Should we do a theme song? We've always had the theme song, right? No, we did.
No.
We had the Storytime intro. We never.
Before it was
that's
the
right.
Storytime.
And then it evolved into this. So we used to
Jared
actually,
was like, I want to be part of it. Like, let me give you guys an intro.
and Jared's the best person for
Yeah.
it. So we totally wanted Jared. We actually went and kicked Jared's door down to have him part of the intro. But we were actually doing story time earlier, and we didn't record it because we should have. But Paco, I told the story. I told the story of Roofless Garage and how you created Roofless Garage and why, and then how your favorite tool is the Sawzall. Or
I love the
handsaw.
sawzall.
What's your favorite thing to cut?
Everything.
Cheese.
I mean, like, I cut the wall in between the studio walls with my sawzall.
Can just real quick before we get for some of you guys don't know, I'm sure you've seen the post. If not, we're gonna have Chelsea DeNofa here on in 5 minutes. Then we have also Nick Rose with us, Vegas Drift, Southwest Drift champion. He just won the point series, getting ready for Pro 2 potentially next year, depending on what route he wants to go. But before we get to them, I want Paco to tell just a quick story to do a throwback Monday on why you did Roofless Garage.
Oh, that's right.
So just give us a quick rundown because I love story time. You got a lift
Yes.
for your old
Pretty
house.
good.
Tell
Yeah.
us about it just real quick.
Okay, while Corey leaves and he goes to the bathroom, I'm gonna tell you guys. No, actually, he's still here. I had a 4-post lift in my garage. It was a regular house, with a 2-car garage, and the roof was, typical height. So in order for the lift to be usable, to at least being able to get all the way under the car, I had to cut a hole in the ceiling of my garage. So I just went at it with a sawzall, cut the trusses. I pray for the whole roof not to fall on me. I did went and look if they were structural, but I cut them all and reinforced them actually.
Yep.
And that was the born of Roofless Garage and laundry.
Yep, because you have your laundry machines right next to your lift. Yeah, so because you would drive the cars on, you realize you couldn't work on it because you couldn't lift the car up high enough. So what better way? Oh, there is that the beginning of Roofless Garage? Are we going to see Roofless Garage and laundry here? But yeah, so you cut the hole out of your roof so you can lift the cars into your attic.
Yep.
And so you can work on them. That's it.
Yep.
Story
Yep.
time with
monsoon
Paco.
seasons did you go through with your roof like that?
It was like a good 2 years, solid 2 years.
Yep.
We filmed the beginnings of Corey's Boss.
Yeah, that was the very beginning. We utilized Roofless Garage and laundry for
Then
about...
I remember we had a 3-hour video. It was just like live streaming while working on it. and you had the radio going on in the background. And
Yep.
at some point during those 3 hours, like you could barely hear in the back some song in the background was just
Yep.
played, and YouTube automatically recognized it, and we got a strike.
Oh
Oh.
God.
Used a
Yeah.
strike, and
That's-
it was like that was it.
That
Like
was
you
it, we're
guys,
done. We-
3 hours, 3 or something hours worth of video,
Yep.
totally unusable
It's
because
junk
of
now. Throw it
yeah.
away. So that's
Yep.
what we did. So
So-
that's why we quit Roofless and Garage. Thanks, YouTube. You're the
Thanks,
best.
YouTube.
Outside of that, we gotta hurry up because we've been having technical difficulties with Paco's internet.
It's not my internet.
Again.
It's not my internet,
Cox
is it?
internet.
It's-
COX.
Yes,
Not
Cox.
mistaken as the other one.
Cock socks.
Yep. Not mistaken with the other internet that Paco uses. So we will be uploading, obviously, this episode.
If
today.
you're listening to it, obviously you're listening to the uploaded
Yep.
version.
But-
You're not listening us live.
Yep, I'm just
unfortunately.
saying we apologize again for the lack of uploading live because we love doing that because it's an easy way for us to interact with you guys. But without further ado, just real quick, I'm going to introduce this dude hanging out to my right. He is a local drifter here in Arizona. He drifts an S14.
Easy.
Easy
Drifts
there,
an S14
cowboy.
with an LS in it,
Yeah.
which is a pretty unique engine package.
It's like I've never heard about that before.
No.
One and
Then
only.
he's got that very exotic body kit. What's called?
Doof.
So,
Super
Oh,
doof.
yeah, that
man.
rare thing that nobody likes. And,
But yeah, so this was his first year drifting in Pro-Am, ended up winning the championship and potentially running
perfect timing.
yep, running
Right, well-
Pro-Am. We got a weird phone call coming. Why don't you just go ahead and
Let's
answer
see,
that real quick? Oh boy. Man.
Somebody interrupting our
Oh,
introduction.
boy.
Oh my God, who's that?
That
Oh
was-
my God,
that was
is it Stranger Things?
perfect timing.
That lighting.
That lighting, you like that?
Wow, it's not October yet, dude. Like, what's with the Halloween setup? Oh,
Oh, there he goes. He's a Philadelphia Punters fan.
what is it?
Always lurking in the
Perfect.
shadows.
Always.
So that was actually perfect timing, Chelsea. We've been fighting with internet issues, and then you decided to call on when it starts working perfect. So you must
you
be running the internet on the other end because you just knew.
You
when to
guys are
call.
so important. I just kept hitting send and trying to get on.
Oh,
but
you know
He's
what?
the one that jacked up our internet
He's
service.
been pinging our internet this whole freaking time.
that's
Wow.
it.
Chelsea net.
So, DeNofa, welcome. Thanks for coming back. We haven't talked to you in quite some time. We're also sitting here. You haven't met Nick, Chelsea, Nick. Nick just
What's up?
won Vegas Drift Southwest Drift champion, got his Pro 2 license. Chelsea
Sick.
now running probably the best motorsports drifting program next to
Pretty
Von
much.
Jr., which
Yeah.
is pretty
I
awesome.
mean, it's literally next to him.
yeah, pretty
like,
next to him.
like-
But
like
the
door to
only-
door.
The
On
only
his door.
downfall, the only downfall that Chelsea has this year. Are you working with Sam? Is he doing any of your video stuff or no?
Yeah, I have to deal with him every day.
Oh my God! Now you know how we feel. I'm
Sorry for you, dude.
so happy we sent him to California. We just couldn't handle him very much.
He's a bit much sometimes.
Yeah, how long?
Yeah.
How do you guys get along? Would you be able
No.
to do a podcast every week with him?
I probably could.
Oh,
He's always fun to hang out with.
yeah, he's a party animal. He likes having a good time.
Did you guys bonded when he kissed you in the forehead while you were driving on the the
He
virtual
did
sim?
actually do that.
That was like a virtual kiss, like
Oh.
I don't know. Or...
It's a simulator for racing, and it has like a face mask thing. You can't see anything, like VR style headset. And he just like comes up and kisses me on the forehead, and I feel this like prickly mustache kiss me on the forehead. I was like, this is obviously not my girlfriend. So I just kind of shrugged it off, like, no big deal. Obviously, someone did this on my team.
So
And it
that
ended up being Sam.
yeah, that's when
And he
you
put it on his Snapchat and Instagram story.
He gave himself away right away.
yeah, that's when you play it off like, no, I didn't feel anything, dude. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
you can't not. His like, I now know what it's like for like when I kiss my girlfriend on the forehead with
Oh,
my
she
prickly
just-
ass beard.
She just hates it. I wish Sam would have put on lipstick and did it because that'd have been way better.
Yes.
He would put.
He would
lipstick, yeah.
do that. So we haven't talked to you. We're actually looking back at our.
We talked to you last time in May.
We were digging through our archives and we had to dust off the May book and that's where
Yeah.
we saw you. And that was like as soon as you signed with like right when you were kind of driving and getting into it with Vaughn.
I think it was second or third
May?
round.
March. Was it May?
I
May
thought it
would
was
have been
March.
after
I thought-
Long Beach.
I thought we had you in May. Maybe it was for a little bit. Maybe.
Yeah, it was like right when the deals was kind of going through, and I think you may have just got in. So it was like once again at that period where it's like, you know what, still new, still fresh, tons of hype, still tons of hype. But now you got some seat time underneath your belt. You already have, 7 rounds in there. You come up to the last round at Irwindale. How's it been driving with Vaughn for 7 rounds, and how was the car driving throughout the season?
So it's awesome. There's obviously been huge differences in the car, but I've been slowly figuring it out and learning how to drive. Working side by side with Vaughn has been really amazing. It couldn't be any better. It's really we get along awesome. The team works amazing. Everybody's there to do the best everyone can, and it's really there's not a better program out there. It's as good as it looks from the outside. It's even better on the inside.
Yeah, you've obviously been drifting since drifting in the U.S. kind of has came around, and you've obviously, I remember even back in the day, 2008, 2009, 10, XTC, Nopi. You've obviously driven tons of cars through your competition life, and now you're sitting in a Ford Mustang. Did you ever picture yourself driving in a Ford Mustang?
No, definitely not. I've driven a lot of different cars. I still drive a lot of different cars, but yeah, Mustang was definitely not really on my radar for everything, but now it definitely is for sure.
Yeah, because you also daily in RTR now, don't you? Is that what your daily is? You're in a Mustang?
I don't daily it, but I have a track car. It's an RTR, but it's pretty much just a street car with some couple bolt-ons, coilovers, and RTR sway bars and 4-link and stuff. So it's fairly basic, but it's pretty much a track car only.
It still rips. Yeah, because you just did Grid Life in that car, didn't you? Or did you do a couple different events outside of FD in that Mustang? Or in the street car?
Power Ranger stuff, and I've driven it at Park a few times. The car from Grid Life was actually a different car that they have on the East Coast. Very similar, though. Pretty much the same car. That car just had a supercharger on it, so it was another 100, 150 horsepower.
Nice. Yeah, so, dude,
No.
now that you've gotten so much time in these cars, there's so much obviously to talk about. But back in the day, or even in the BMW days, even now and even in the Mustang, but going back to the Miata and the BMW days, it's you drove the piss out of those cars, and that's kind of what you got known for in the drifting world. Is you were the hardest dude ever on equipment, which is super rad and super cool because it definitely shows. And I remember actually watching you and Daigo in Atlanta. You were in the BMW and he was in the SC 430, and it was probably one of the gnarliest runs I've ever seen in FD competition, almost comparable to Forsberg and S at New Jersey. But going and driving that hard in a BMW and being used to driving that car for so long, how does that compare to driving the Mustang and driving as hard as you do in that Mustang?
So it's kind of different. I can't really drive the Mustang as hard, and it's not because it can't take it at all. It's because the motor is so responsive that if you drive it super hard, it just blows the tires off and doesn't even move. So it just literally go to the rev limiter instantly.
And
so it's.
And what engine is that? The Roush?
Yeah, so it's a Roush V8. It's 455 cubic inch V8, and it's 750 plus wheel, 900 plus at the crank, instant torque. You can be at 2,500 RPM in fourth gear and floor, and it just goes straight to where the power falls off, which is 8,500 RPM. It's insane. And
that's actually one of their NASCAR or Circle Track engine platforms or packages. Is that what that is?
Yeah, so it's a RY45, which is a current NASCAR motor. And then instead of being 348 cubic inches, it's 455. So it's just way more torque.
So, our buddy Nick Rose right here, who drifts an LS1, could you tell him why is a Ford engine a lot better than his LS?
I've had terrible luck with LSs, so I just stay away from all of that. I actually stay away from all engines completely. But this motor has been the only motor that's made it more than 2 events for me in my entire life, so that's saying a lot. My LS made it 1 lap at Irwindale, had an injector failure and melted a hole in the piston.
Oh,
I remember that.
But it's not really LS fault; it's more injector fault. But
well, since we're talking about 2 different types of cars, that's the one thing I wanted to ask you. is comparing your old BMW to your new car. Obviously, your BMW didn't do three-wheel motion, it didn't pop wheelies and hot boy everywhere. And now that you're driving this new car, how's the driving style? How does it feel with the car looking so soft?
So
Do you feel that? Do you feel that in the car?
Oddly enough, it's I think stiffer than my BMW was.
Really?
It's just the way that the geometry and the suspension all works is just a little bit different. The springs and spring rates and sway bars are all very, very similar between the two cars. The cars react extremely similar. The guys at RTR and I both share the same ideas on what works for cars and how the cars react to different driving.
Yep.
So they're super similar. But yeah, this car just does wheelies everywhere and gets wild. I think it's a combination of everything. Like our Nittos have like way more grip than the tires I was running before. The car's a little bit heavier, so it transfers weight. And I think also just how we drive it makes a difference too. Because I want to, I can go out there and not three-wheel all the way around the track.
Right.
But it kind of just works to drive that way.
Now, is that
And
just-
being in the car is kind of just like, hey, it does it, but you don't really notice it after the first lap.
So is that Nick?
Is that just all the weight transferring over to the opposite rear tire, or is that actually the car flexing and lifting the tire off the ground?
Yeah, so the chassis doesn't have really any flex, so it's all like actually leading the tire off the ground with front roll stiffness and obviously the lack of rear roll stiffness, and just really like the instant grip that they make will just pop the wheel off the ground. A lot of other cars make grip like continuously, like they'll kind of ramp onto it, and this car just makes it instantly and then kind of levels off. So every time you get on and off the gas, you just make instant grip.
Wow.
It's insane how I've never seen a car pulling squatting more when you pull the e-brake. It kind of like counters everything that you think.
Yeah.
Power, squat, brake, goes forward. This one's squatting all the time.
It's pretty crazy to see Vaughn pull that thing, initiating into a turn, and watch the whole back of the car
Just
dip
keep
down a couple
dipping a
inches.
lot more. Yeah, it's insane.
Well, let's compare that again back to your old program. Look at the engineering that you had in your BMW and like the team you had versus what you have now. How big of a difference is that?
Well, I mean, I worked on that chassis for 10 years, so
Yeah,
I had
that's
it
true.
engineered really well. It was super fast. It
Right.
was to drive. These guys have been in this chassis for not even 2 years now, right?
Right.
So this is the second year. But the car is just fast. So, I mean, that just shows you like it took 9 years off of someone's life.
No, literally. And I think that's exactly kind of what you pay for, right? Is you pay for the development happening so much quicker rather than struggling and fighting a chassis for 10 years. It's like, dude, link up with a team that already knows what they're doing and established and take that information and roll it right into a solid program. Because like with you, it took 9 years in that BMW to get it somewhat competitive. You obviously won Long Beach in it, which was freaking nuts. But once again, that's 10 years of hard work to get to that point.
Yeah, I think that, the BMW definitely was at the point where it was like last year, that car, if it ran, I was going to win in it. Like it just blew up all the time. So I couldn't get to win in it.
Right.
But we had so much development and did so many crazy things with that chassis to make it do that, and I had been driving it so long that I could drive the car past 100% and still be comfortable. I think that's where that's at. But the
Right.
Mustang is, I'm about 85% in it.
Right.
So as long as I drive below 85%, I'm not going to make mistakes. I'm going to be good. The car is plenty fast. The car rewards you driving it like easier. So if you're more of like an intelligent driver instead of just driving like a madman all the time, like I normally do,
Yep.
it's actually faster. So it's crazy.
That's now that you got some seat time underneath your belt, what has it like been the past 7 rounds? Obviously, the first couple rounds you were going through a learning phase, but then the last 2 rounds, it's looking like it's clicking a lot more than it has obviously in previous rounds. And you obviously took out your boss Vaughn in Seattle, which was probably isn't it nominated for one of the best battles of the year? I think it is. I think it's nominated for one of the best battles of the year. But it's like now things are clicking. What is it like been through the first round at Long Beach up until this point now where it looks like it's clicking? What has been changing? What have you been doing? Or what has the development been like since round 1 until now?
So yeah, my gas pedal. That's really been it. I
Yeah.
was overdriving the car forever because I had been driving turbo and nitrous cars forever and just never had a motor that just would instantly blow the tires off. So 90% of my problems up until, let's say, halfway through Canada were pretty much just me being too aggressive with the throttle. It's not like you can't floor it, but
Right.
you can't just smash the pedal to the floor. So I've been learning how to like modulate the throttle and do a lot different, tactics as far as like getting the car to go where it needs to go. And the team and my spotter and everyone's been helping me out with that a lot. Even Vaughn's been helping me tremendously with that stuff, kind of like allowing us to share data and all
Right.
that stuff so we can see what works better. And surprisingly, some things that I do are like way faster than Vaughn, and some things that he does are way faster than me. So it's perfect to just bounce it back and forth and just see like, hey, this is how I make a super fast lap that's still where we need to be on track. I take half of what you're doing, you take half of what I'm doing, or 70-30 or whatever. So it's been huge amounts of learning, but I'm to the point now where when it's time for tandem, I think I can actually drive the car and put it where it needs to be and maybe not totally run the person over in front of me.
Oh, that's still cool though. You should still think about doing that, especially at the last round. But that's one of the cool things is that you and Vaughn are driving. Obviously, are they identical setups or are they similar setups?
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the cars are like physically, the parts are all exactly the same. It's just like little alignment changes, little setup changes. Pretty much everything is identical.
Yeah, that's one thing that we were kind of discussing because you guys do have so much different driving styles, or so it seems, or maybe it's just the amount of seat time that Vaughn has. Obviously, he's learned how to drive the car with the gas pedal when it's you needing to pull the reins back and be like, dude, I just can't stand on this thing because it's freaking it's not drivable or it's very difficult to drive. But going into Seattle, obviously you had that moment that clicked. That was purely just based off of you using your right foot.
Yeah, I mean, and also like it's really easy to beat Vaughn, not because of the abilities, but because I
Wow.
know. No. I know that he's going 100%,
Right.
and he's not playing any games. So for
True.
me, I just got to run my qualifying run, and then when I follow, I literally just need to stay a foot from him the whole time. And that's like easy. You're not thinking about like, oh, so and so checks up here, or so and so, if I bump them, they're gonna lift and throw the flag and whatever, roll over or whatever. You're not thinking about any of that. You can just pick a spot on the car every turn and just drive into it, transition, pick a spot, drive into it, And that's like, even Long Beach, when I won Long Beach last year, it was like the same thing. I just had battles that I could just run everyone heads up super hard, until the last battle. But
Without running them over.
right. Well,
Yeah.
even if I did, like, pretty much I tapped someone every run, but because I could push hard, and that's what made the difference,
See, like one of the things that Vaughn told us on, it was on the late nights with Lorette, when we were asking him like if he was like how okay was he with you being cocky about beating him. He literally said like, no, I mean he has all the rides because he actually beat me good, like it was definitely, like very close driving, but at the end, the judges judge in favor of you, and but then he said, like you're only allowed to be cocky for one day. Next day, you can't.
Right.
In a very Vaughn like fashion. But yeah, I mean, like I think that's the best way of winning, and like what you said about like being easy to beat him. I'm sure. I mean, for the people who is listening, you don't mean it like it was easy, but it's definitely
No, I don't mean that at all. It was a super hard
exactly.
battle.
It's
But
like
I
the
was
case.
able to drive how I wanted to drive. I didn't
Yeah.
have to think twice about it.
It's like a case with James Dean and Jonathan Castro. It like Castro managed to beat Dean because Dean put such a nice lead run, so he could follow him perfectly. But then the other way is like you also had to put up a pretty solid lead run,
Yeah, for sure.
and you did. So that's also like big credit to you as well. So you can always just
really,
credit
it
the
was
lead.
like it was like 5% difference between the two of our runs. Like with Vaughn, it was like at one point he dove in and went a little bit shallow off of like the outer zone, and I didn't, and that was pretty much it. That was the only difference. Like he was right there on me, I was right there on him. Like, and I think we could have done that all night, like driven like nonstop battles like that. And I think it just was like I had just a little bit more aggression. I think his lead run actually may have been better than my lead run, but my follow was just that little bit more aggressive. And that's this year the judges really want to see that. So it's in my favor for sure.
Go ahead, Paul.
Do you think that this year more and more drivers having showing that level of competitive level, like everybody can actually take out everybody, you know what I'm saying? Do you think it's a fair assessment of the situation right now in FD?
Yeah, I think towards the end of last year it got to that point, like everyone just ripping and everyone's starting to wrap their heads around how to make their car do what it needs to do. And I think for like the last few years, everyone's cars were kind of too much for them. Like it was like, and I'm not like dissing anyone in particular, but I'm just saying like the sport parts were made and people were fabricating parts and setting their cars up to be so much faster, and maybe the drivers just couldn't really grasp it yet. And I think now like everyone gets it and no one's afraid to go fast or set their cars up to be in kill mode all the time. And I think that, it's just, that's it. It's like, that's the part of the sport now. It's just progressed to the point where there's 20 dudes that could win every event, which is crazy.
Yeah, you did bring up a good point. You look at 2-3 years ago, even look at yourself at your BMW, you had that thing so wound up that you couldn't keep it together. And a lot of people in the field, a lot of the battles, they would take themselves out because the car could not just keep up with what it's producing anymore.
Defeated by their cars.
And I blame your brother Daigo on that. We still do to this day because he was the big influencer in that. And he still had tons of problems, but he was able to financially afford the problems, I guess. I don't know if that was right.
First.
Yeah, the first year. But now everybody jumped on that train. It's like, I guess it's a 1,200 horsepower. Everybody needs 1,200 horsepower to be able to compete in this thing. But then it's like the last man standing really is the one who's going to win. And you could look at Forsberg when he won the championship. He didn't win one race that whole season, I believe. And he's going to fact check me on that, but I can almost believe.
He hasn't won a single run in like the last 3 years. It's still
but
just second
he
or
won
third.
the championship just based off consistency and keeping the car together. And like you said, I think people are obviously pulling the reins back to say, do you know what? As long as a car is consistently running strong, we're going to be good. We don't need 1 million horsepower anymore.
Yep.
We don't need that.
And I think proof of it has been his car this season. If his car hasn't been running right, he hasn't podium. As soon as his car is running right, he's back in the podium.
Well, and that's what I'm getting at with Chelsea is like he's been driving a BMW that's once again, as soon as he pushed on the gas pedal, it's like pulling a pin on a hand grenade. It's like I hope it stays together and I hope it doesn't blow up. But is that one of the biggest change? But it's Chelsea. You can't say that's not true. It literally is. Don't you remember when Dustin used to call you spaghetti drive shaft because you'd blow through them like?
I never even broke a drive shaft.
It wasn't the drive shaft, it's the Gibo.
Was it the Gibo joint? Is that what you kept blowing up in it?
No, I think what had happened was I was like getting spares together for it, and he kept seeing posts about me asking for a certain year drive shaft. And then also like I was making drive shafts for everyone that was running that transmission and diff combo.
Right.
So I was always asking for people like to sell them to me.
To buy spaghetti drive shaft.
But if you think about it, it's better to blow the Gibos than blowing trannies like you all the time.
Yeah, that's true. But the thing I was getting at is you're going from somebody who had a car. Obviously, Chelsea, let's be real. Mechanicals has been the biggest thing that has taken you out over the years, right? Would you say that? Mechanicals?
What's that?
Mechanicals have been the most commonly thing that takes
sure.
out.
Like 95% of my career.
And so you're taking somebody who probably has the worst luck with mechanicals to putting them in a car that works all the time. Right. And how is that feeling? And having a team that can support you to say, do you know what? We know how hard this dude drives, but how different is it knowing that you have such good support to keep the freaking cars together? Finally.
Yeah, well, so I drive way more. I don't really think about the car anymore. I just keep cruising along. And, I'm always running nonstop. And I think the car's broken once this whole year. And it was like something stupid, it's like, and the team had it fixed in 5 minutes. So like, that's unheard of. Like, that's gotta be like, everybody has mechanical failures during practice or qualifying, and hopefully not during the event, but it happens. But for one time in probably like 400, 500 laps I've done this year. It's nuts.
Yeah, that's incredible. Totally nuts. Because yeah, like before, it's like, oh, here's Chelsea. He's either gonna lay down or he's gonna break something really stupid and park it for the night.
Yeah.
Like that was literally what it was back in the day.
But it's so cool nowadays, just like, oh, we know, he's gonna go and the car's gonna be fine.
He's a force.
And, yeah.
Force to be reckoned with now.
Yep.
What else? I was going to ask you something else leading up to Irwindale. Obviously, you have a bunch of development in the car. What do you plan on changing heading into Irwindale? And then, how long are you going to be driving the Mustang for?
So changing stuff for Irwindale. We change stuff for every event nonstop throughout the weekend, depending on who we're even battling. Speed the car up, slow the car down, whatever we need to have our odds be the best to beat that person. So, we'll show up with basically what Vaughn left last year.
Nice.
And we'll kind of go from there because he drove the car there last year. And, just get me comfortable. Team gets, the car set up the way I feel it needs and maybe progresses and they sway me into doing some other things driving. And, that's pretty much it. So, the car's usually set up for qualifying by the end of Thursday and set up for tandem by the end of Friday. So, they're super ahead of the game. And then as far as the Mustang continuing, I'll definitely be driving it next year for sure.
Nice.
And the foreseeable future, absolutely. We don't have I think the team likes me. I love working for the team. And, it's been great. Like, it's like, oh, let's drive for the dream team.
Right.
This is it. Like, it's just amazing. Every part of it is so great.
It was a match made in heaven.
Yeah.
It really was.
Well, the other thing, too, that I wanted to ask you, too, about teaming up with Vaughn, the one thing that you did or have been getting better at is your media. Like,
Well, I have time now.
yeah. No,
that's true because you don't have to be slaving on your car all day to make it to the next round.
Well, he's been doing YouTube. You've been doing your YouTube stuff, like your recap videos or your explanations of certain things. But then also you've been doing really. Uh-oh.
Where are you right now?
Dang, dog.
What was that hand sign he was doing?
He was giving out the double deuces.
I have no idea what he did.
See,
I was just pointing.
But yeah, you look at the media, and you've been investing a lot of time or having people invest time with you into that. Has that changed your program at all as well?
Yeah, I mean, personally, it's been building my stuff up a lot. And then we've been able to pull that over to the RTR stuff and help out there, kind of give another set of eyes and another different demographic to reach. It's funny because, like, even a lot of my friends have bought Mustangs this year. Like, and I had, like, no friends that had Mustangs besides Vaughn.
Right,
So now it's like I have multiple friends that have them and are drifting them, like EcoBoosts and, even Coyote stuff. So it's kind of neat to see, like, that I've opened the eyes of some people of, hey, this is a great car to start with. And
it definitely, I mean, obviously Ford did a big change on the car, like just the fact that it's now universally available with independent suspension. It was about time. And, it was like, I can't believe they were still making solid axle cars. And, but yeah, I mean, like, I think you guys are doing a good favor to Ford, putting a good name on the car. But what would you do? What would be your suggestion to stop the massacre of spectators and car shows from Mustang drivers? Like, what would be your strategy to change that?
I don't have one. Leave the traction control on. I don't know. I'm telling you, like, I've driven the Mustangs, and they are a lot. Like, they're easy to drive. They handle great. Everything's awesome. But, like, I definitely can see how, like, a normal person can get in one because they'll spin the tires all the way through second gear, stock.
Oh, for sure.
So, like, when someone, I had a Toyota Camry or IA, and now I'm gonna go, like, buy a Mustang. And that's what happens. People are like, get reckless in it, Huh. Yeah. But I think the traction control thing, it's like, just leave it on if you don't know what you're doing. Like,
I think it was mostly the solid axle what fucked people up because now they shouldn't tail slide like that. I mean,
well, it's kind of funny. You see people doing burnouts, and they always roast through first and second gear, and then as soon as the car grips up, they don't know what to do. It just darts whatever direction.
They have
like they spin the tires, but what happens is, like, the Coyote motor, like, ramps onto the power, like, real smoothly, so it's like barely spinning the tires,
And
and
then
then a little bit
suddenly-
more, and a little more, and they're like, oh,
Warp
and then all of a
speed.
sudden, like, I got to counter steer up, and then just that's done.
Too slow.
Over.
See, maybe that's what we need. Chelsea DeNofa's school of how to properly leave a car show.
School of
That's-
automotive avoidance.
I always
That's a
think
good
that guy
one.
like shifts at like 1200 RPM when I leave at car shows. Everyone's like, do a burnout. I'm like in my drift car with like 800 horsepower. I'm just like, burp, burp.
You don't need that much
That's what you say.
motivation.
If people ask me to
encouragement.
do a burnout Mustang, but God, I'd accidentally kill you all if I did that. Get away.
Well, there's a feature on the new Mustang. If you go into the apps and press, it's for line locks. So
Yeah.
that way you don't run people over when you do burnouts.
That's the coolest thing, dude. Like, think about it. Now, cars offer you from factory a line lock that you operate from the computer, from the steering
I know.
wheel.
That's because Ford knew it was a
They
problem.
give you a warranty with that. Like, the line lock's ridiculous. You can do, in a stock Mustang, you can do limiter of third gear burnouts
Oh,
with that
wow.
on.
Jesus.
and that's
like-
exactly what these
It's like
people need.
100 mile an hour wheel
So
speed.
awesome.
Like,
So awesome.
how is that still warranted? Like, it should be when you press that, it's over. Like, your warranty is void.
That's so crazy. I mean, because remember when the GTR came out, they wouldn't warranty the launch control.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, they would like if you do launch control,
It voids the
warranty.
drivetrain.
But like, why do you give me the option? You know,
yeah,
Yeah.
especially to a
Or
bunch
put it
of
in race
$100,000
mode and has, like-
maniacs.
Yeah. If you put it in race mode and go to the track, it, like, voids your warranty and
yeah,
stuff.
so stupid. So
So crazy.
glad to see Ford is doing it right. I've never been a big Ford fan, but I definitely I rented a Mustang. It was a V6, and it was the previous generation. That was my rental car in California one time, and I was surprised on how nice it drove. It had plenty of power. That was the time when they finally made 300 horses with the V6s.
Yep.
Very
Yeah.
nimble, very well built. So props to Ford.
And they
So
all come with limited slips.
there you go. If Ford is listening, obviously, you guys can send us a Mustang to the show. We'll be very happy to put it back here in the
We'll have
studio.
a Chelsea
But you guys
DeNofa
can come up
training
and drive
day.
my Mustang.
Yeah, I'll be out in Portland. So
There
we'll
you
go
go.
out there.
So
We'll-
is that an open invitation?
Yeah, for sure.
There you go.
Chelsea, if we get a Mustang, will you come do a clinic on how to leave car shows?
I will.
Yes.
I would love that.
Let's bring him this December. What are you doing in December?
I'm on vacation in December.
Oh,
so
perfect.
Whatever.
We have a very cool event here in Phoenix called Desert Mayhan. We're doing a full replica of the Mayhan Sportsland at Bondurant with concrete walls and everything. So
Maybe
Well-
I'll bring my car down there.
there you go, man. Let's make it happen.
Hell yeah.
Even if
for
you
sure.
can't bring the car, I'll toss you the keys to mine. You can get a little wild in it.
There you go.
There you go.
How many?
That's it.
What horsepower in your car right now?
The magic number, 420.
I thought it was a 0 right now. Then you just took the engine apart.
What, my car?
Yeah.
No, it's still
Oh,
together.
I saw you here holding a cam.
Oh, that was the old engine.
Oh.
That was the LQ9.
Chelsea, what were you
Okay.
competing in Pro-Am?
E36.
What motor package and what suspension?
S52 with 500 wheel. It was
Jesus
like
Christ.
tuned for 750, but I
S52
turned
is
it
that-
down to like 450 or 500.
That's a BMW. That's the 330 engine, right?
Yeah, like it was a 328 block with a M3 crank.
So you think
that's-
those engines are reliable, like good, fully reliability to run Pro-Am?
For sure. Like if you're not using nitrous, they're great. They do not like nitrous
What
because of the Vanos creating too much cylinder pressure.
What
So,
about turbo?
yeah, like a 35R or something, 15 pounds of boost,
15
500
pound
horsepower,
stops?
done.
It's not bad.
900, is that what you said?
500 for
Oh,
like
I was
15
gonna
pounds
say,
of
holy
boost.
Yeah, you don't need
That's a lot.
you don't need more than 500. Have you seen the series
No,
How to
I-
Drift?
500 murders pro-am, like no problem.
Yeah. Well, if you don't know, Nick Rose right here, he just won Southwest Drift ProAm. He got his Pro 2 license. And he told us, his favorite driver is Mad Mike. But his second favorite driver is Chelsea DeNofa. So,
Perfect.
Mad Mike just sparked the fire for me in 2008. He was the guy that was out there going nuts with that quad rotor at the Red Bull World Championships.
Yeah.
Have you beat Mad Mike before, Chelsea?
Have I beat Mad Mike?
Yeah.
I don't
In-
think I've even battled him
in a
before.
fist fight.
No.
You haven't battled him?
I don't think so.
Oh,
Wow.
wow. That'd be fun to watch.
Yeah. I mean, with
Gotta
a
go to
Mustang?
Stats and see. Go
Oh,
to
Drift Stats.
Kevin's website.
Who runs Drift Stats?
I think it's Kevin Wells.
No
Really?
way.
Little
Uh-oh.
plug there for him.
No way. Kevin runs that?
I think so.
He probably delegated the duties to somebody else now.
But you can click like the 2 drivers, and they'll like put our photos up, and then it'll tell you who has more wins.
Do you have a photo from like 4 years ago?
I'm sure. Oh, I don't know if the website's been updated either. So
Or
They have
or the stick?
2017 season, and let's look up Chelsea.
there you go.
Versus Mad Moik. Oh God, let me find
You
this.
got
Let's
it
see.
pulled up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking
Well,
right now.
Corey's searching right now, making sure the guys haven't battled before. You would remember if you had battled him, right?
Dude,
Yeah, I feel like I would have remembered.
I don't know. It's tough to
I don't-
say.
Or
I feel like I haven't battled him before.
or maybe you were lined up to him, and at some point, maybe your car broke, and he just got a by run.
My famous
2016.
car broken battle is Odie.
Uh-huh.
Every time my car is broken, I battle Odie. Or if I'm in a borrowed car or something, every time.
Woody has been getting
Oh my
some luck on Byrons. What do you find?
Chelsea, I'm on Drift Stats, and I'm going through to see who he battled, and it says Chelsea DeNofa, and this was 2014 versus June Mang. June Mang got the win. God
Yeah.
damn it, Chelsea!
What a beast.
Yep.
I'm good. This is a crazy.
Was it
website.
2014 it was?
2014? Yeah. What were you driving? Were you obviously the BMW?
The Beamer.
That's probably broken.
Yeah. Let's see.
No,
yeah,
it
because
was broken.
Was a 46.
no. Let's see results. Oh, this is a pretty nice. If Kevin runs this, he is a wizard. Kevin is a.
He is a wizard.
13.7. Yeah, I didn't see any Mad Moiks, but if you went against him, you'd probably beat him now for sure.
I don't know. He's always had pretty fast cars. So
When it runs.
Oh, and the Miata. Yeah, his Miata was pretty ridiculous, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it was lightweight, but same
know, I
thing,
wanted
you know,
to
like
drive that
if
so
it
bad.
runs, it's fine.
I love rotaries. So fun.
Oh, you have an FD.
I sold it.
No way.
Oh man.
But you also
Yeah,
drove the
so-
RX-8, right?
Yeah, I drove the RX-8 too.
Yeah, that was a rotary.
Yep, 3 rotor with like a 4294 turbo on it.
That was with Bergenholtz?
Yeah.
Right on.
It
See, you
was
let you
awesome.
let you
I
let
was
June
driving
beat
that
you, and
thing.
then he stole his ride.
That was a long time ago.
Still did it. That was awesome. Yeah, I'm going through the stats right now. You beat Byron twice this year so far.
It was a close battle, though.
Yep.
Oh, it's because of qualifying. Yeah.
You beat Kristaps. You beat Kyle Mohn. You beat Vaughn. You beat Jeff Jones. You beat Taylor Hall. You beat.
You and Chris, that was also a good battle, right?
Dude, that's when his looked like. Did your car almost look like it exploded against Kristaps?
I think that was against James Dean.
Oh. Dude, it looked like Chelsea was on fire at half the battle. What ended up causing that?
Yeah. So we have like a titanium skid plate under the diff,
Yep.
and it's scraped, and then I
Oh.
think the exhaust just caught all the sparks
pull-
on fire.
They pulled the Fast and Furious where the skid plate thing falls off the Eclipse and starts throwing
Yeah,
sparks.
just like
and
smash the laptop closed.
danger
I
the
was like,
manifold.
go for
Shut
it.
up! That's exactly what happened. Wow.
right.
I thought it
Trying
was
to get
science
Monica.
fiction.
All right, so I know Chelsea, you got to get rolling. We actually start a little late. Let's hit Chelsea with just a few Graham questions, and we'll do a quick dialogue, and then obviously we'll get Nick jumping in.
Yeah, and
here.
also Nick has some questions from.
Yeah, so we're gonna, every
from-
now and then, Nick will throw
Draw some
at ya.
inspiration from your second favorite driver, Nick. Feel free to
There you go.
Feel free to ask Chelsea, man.
Let's see here, going through Instagrams.
I have a question from Drop a Gear 7. Hey Chelsea, who was your favorite pro driver this season? Pro 2 driver.
Pro 2. I'd have to go Kevin Lawrence.
Kevin Lawrence.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
he
shredded.
he
That's
won.
a
You got
Florida
that right.
boy.
He used to be my spotter in Formula D back in the day, and we've been good friends for a long time, probably like 10 or 11 years. So it's always good to watch him.
Here's another question. This is actually a really
Him
good
and
one.
probably Travis Reeder.
Yeah, those dudes rip. This is from Max Frolic. Chelsea, if you could go back 5 years, what would you have done differently?
Ooh.
That's a solid one. Because think
Is that
about
like a
it, if you
personal
done
question or with drifting.
no, like I'm sure probably with drifting, but think about it. You've done everything to get to this point now. If you changed something 5 years ago,
Yeah.
would it change the outcome?
I probably would have put a Roush Yates motor in my BMW.
Nice.
And those are not nice 50K.
I'll probably
or
have a
more.
lot of money. Like if I could
But
go back,
they're 50 grand, but I probably spent 120 grand on motors in 5 years.
50 grand for
Per
a
pack,
Roush.
yeah. But listen what he said. Like,
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying it's not worth it.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
just saying it's the amount of money. You know, like that's like 75 Buick Riatas,
Oh, that'd be nice. I'd rather have that.
you know, or like 80 something
Is that how
Pontiac
you guys
Aztecs.
value things in Buick Regatta?
Buick Riatas.
Yeah, or Pontiac Aztecs, depending on the
On where the value's
Pontiac
at.
Yeah.
Arizona
What a
currency.
classy automobile.
Going through.
I got a question for you,
Yeah,
Chelsea.
go
Uh-oh.
shoot.
What's your Instagram
Let's
name?
hear it.
Nick Gross _drift.
Okay.
Slash hot dog.
What is the highest point and the lowest point of your Formula Drift career?
Oh, man.
Ooh.
I had to come with good questions, man.
Yeah, I mean, the highest point was probably tied between winning Long Beach and signing with the Vaughn deal. Those are both like pretty pivotal for me. Worst was probably every event last year besides Long Beach. I was like on the automotive bridge about to jump off. It was bad. We had like blown motors every round and just like spent every penny I had trying to finish the season. It was like horrible. But that was the low point was probably FD New Jersey. That was pretty bad last year.
What happened? Just that was it. You're
I
done.
blew another motor, and then we put the spare in, and I had built the spare, like not having any sleep, and I forgot to put this like cam tool in, and we fired it and just bent like every valve in the motor in a brand new motor. And I was just like, sick, pack it up, let's go.
Yeah, let's go hang out. Let's go ride bikes.
Let's go cliff
Yeah.
diving. And
How much cheaper would bikes would have been that year instead of drift cars?
I mean, I ride bikes all the time.
Yeah.
They're pretty cheap. All it is the fuel that you burn in your body, so you have to eat a couple more meals. That's all.
nice.
Dude, that's pretty wild that you go from your worst year to
The best.
Like,
Yeah, back to back.
that's
It was like sandwiched between it all.
Well,
I was like, oh, I won Long Beach. This is great. And then it was like, oh, I blew a motor every other round. I even lost the motor at Long Beach. I just kept driving it with like 11 bent valves.
Was
Jesus
that deal
Christ.
with was that deal with Vaughn kind of in the works during that season, or was that kind of like a thing that just
During
fell into your
games.
lap? Or
No, it was actually, I was at Irwindale and I had, man, another bad day. Blew my LS up after the first lap because that injector failure. And then I rented Odie's car.
oh, that was the one in the history books.
I wise fabbed it like straight into the wall.
oh man,
Wrecked it.
I love the expression. I
Yeah,
wise fabbed it into
I
the
mean,
wall. So
I
like
was
with the
a verb.
maximum angle possible.
we're gonna
Well,
use that as a verb.
Threw it
now.
in, and I was like, "Oh, I'm good." And I was like, I added some angle, and instead of the car adding angle, it like backed up a whole bunch and wise fabbed me straight into the wall.
Yeah, because we all know you're the biggest fan of Wisefab, right?
God, it's the worst.
God. Yeah, I remember you had the issues in Irwindale, and everybody's like, "Dude, Chelsea's going to Odie's back part," and everybody was stoked. And you actually, did you crash in practice?
I only got 2 laps of practice. The first lap was me just like feeling it out, and then the second lap, I like, okay, I'm gonna go a little bit harder, but like. I had already like thought I unwise fabbed it. I had like an inch of toe out in the front and like 80 psi in the front tires. And like I throw it into the infield and the front grip just like drove me backwards into the wall, and I was like, great. And then I went out in qualifying, and I only got 1 qualifying run because we were fixing the car
Right.
for the first qualifying run. And I like put down a really good run, and the judges were like, "Oh, you didn't drift across the finish line. You got a 0."
Oh,
Sick weekend, bro.
That's so rough.
Hold on.
I was like blown out of my mind. I was like so pissed off. I was like, yo, if you're putting a second car together, I'm driving it for you next year, whatever it takes. I'll sweep the shop floors. I'll fly out to Charlotte and do whatever we need to do, and we're going to make it happen. So it actually worked out.
That is perfect. That's actually a really great story. I had the worst year ever, so I was sick of it. So I just went to Vaughn and banged on his door, kicked him in the nuts.
Well, I was like, yo, why not? I'm not doing this next year unless I can drive for a team. So start with the best team.
Well, you know what they say when you hit rock bottom, you just get impulse
you just keep
to jump.
digging.
No,
You keep driving BMWs.
there you go. But rock bottom, you can dig on rock bottom. That's rock. It's
Oh,
solid.
good point, Buck. I didn't think about rocks.
It's the
physics.
foundation, maybe
Yeah.
for something better, right?
So
No,
yeah,
but-
you know, you hit bottom, then you impulse yourself, throw yourself.
I want to
higher.
ask you this: how many cars did you drive that year? Because I remember you were driving like a Pro-Am S14 in Texas, right?
Yeah, I drove 3 cars.
That's solid. Not bad in one year.
3 cars with 20 different motors.
God, that's awesome.
Variety is a signal of good taste.
That's why we call them Skittles.
I have a question from Mr. Mr. Steal Your Waffles.
Okay, nice.
Is asking, Mr. Steal Your Waffles.
Pretty rad name.
Yeah, he's asking what it's like chasing Kristaps Blues.
Well, he's super fast, and I know what his car does when it drives because I had the same car. So it's pretty rad. I knew I had to run him heads up. In practice, his car was actually like a little bit faster than ours, so we turned it up a little bit, and I basically showed no mercy. So it's definitely awesome to drive with him. You guys can battle it out and bump doors as much as you want, and he'll stay in it regardless, and it's definitely awesome.
He didn't call you a pussy, so that's already a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I told him, I could have backed down, but then you would have called me a pussy, so. Or a pussy, as you would say.
You're boozy. So here's one for you. This is actually a good one. Brandon GT86. How was the transition from the BMW to the Mustang? Also, Vaughn said you had input on changing some setup in both cars, dropping the diff. That's why the fireball happened, question mark. What input did you give to the team, or did you give any?
I mean, I definitely give a ton of input. Some stuff they do and change, and everybody likes it. Some stuff I get vetoed, but I always get explained why, and it always makes sense. But we're mostly on the same page with everything, so I don't really have any issues there. And then as far as the transition, like I said, the cars are pretty similar. The Mustang's a little bit heavier, but the motor's way more responsive, so they react very, very similar. And really, it sounds stupid, but even though the cars are massively different, the big change for me was just the gas pedal, like being able to use it instead of just smashing it to the floor all the time.
Nice.
What do you got, Pac?
I have one from Iketani61. Is there any plans for the FIA Cup?
No, not for me. I know a couple drivers are going over there. For me, it's just not feasible. And it's not like it's too much money to go do and not know what's going to happen with it. It's kind of hard to like dive in with like a series that has like 1,000 Instagram followers and, doesn't really like push in the right direction that I believe drifting should be going.
Okay.
So, I would definitely love to go do it. Like if somebody said, hey, I have a car, everything, come drive it, I would be like, cool, I'm in. There's my invite for someone to invite me.
Yeah.
But outside of that, it's like it would cost me, $20,000 or $30,000 to go drive that event, and it would be, I don't really know what would come of it,
Right.
What do you think? FIA is not. It's not like the good.
The right direction.
Yeah, the right direction. Yeah.
I just feel like it does. Like, so obviously the event's the week before Irwindale, so right off the bat, it screws everybody in Formula D. No one can bring their competition cars there. And I know that they didn't do that on purpose, but, they did it because obviously D1 Japan is in Odaiba the week after, so it's easy for them to get a good turnout. And also, like, if you're going to have the FIA Cup, and the FIA is obviously really serious, and they have, been in part of motorsports forever, I do think that they're a very serious organization. Like, you're not, like, what are you doing in a parking lot event? Like, I'm not flying my car across country to drive in a parking lot. I mean, and it's just D1. Like, I feel like when I look at it, and I'm not hating on D1 in any means, but like, I think that they just chose to do a D1 because it made sense and it was easy and, to get the ball going and see how it goes. FIA might turn into something huge, and I'll definitely want to be a part of it. But at this point, I just feel that for me to invest my time and efforts and money, it's just like it's kind of a roll of the dice.
Well, yeah, there's really no benefit to get in it this early other than saying you compete in the first FIA Cup. There is really no benefit as of right now until you see the organization actually function correctly. And we even heard rumors like D1 doesn't run the best operation, and a lot of people were frustrated that they got the deal over.
I guess also, I mean, some teams might find a value on it, but some others, like, I think it depends. And I think what he's saying, like, so far for him in this position he's at, it's not worth it.
Right.
So I think it's perfectly acceptable. Like once
yeah.
we see how D1 does, maybe go to the next one.
Yeah, I love driving. Like, I would drive all the series if I could. Like, because it's just every series has their own positives and negatives. Like,
Oh, for sure.
I go drive all the time just for fun because that's what it's about for me. But like at the same time, it's like it's not fun when you're spending that much money not knowing like what's gonna happen.
Out of all the international events you've driven so far, why was Honduras with Corey?
No, Panama.
Panama. What was Panama the best experience for you?
Panama was awesome. We had a lot of fun. A lot of those events when there's a lot of FD drivers like together at the same time, like it's just fun. We get to actually hang out, and obviously we love driving, so we get to drive. But also like it's like I wouldn't use the term vacation, but like we get to hang out with each other outside of drifting, so it makes it a lot of fun.
Yeah, because you did Honduras, and like, what other international events have you done over the past 5 years?
Panama.
A ton. I mean, every year I do a couple. Like I've been to Drift Challenge Australia a few times with Fink and those guys. Those are super fun events. Awesome.
Badass.
Like I think a lot of Pro-Am series and fun drift events could learn some stuff from them. I've been to Belarus. I drove that event this year in the Evil Empire Supra, that was a really cool event. Like the fans there were awesome. It was like on an airstrip, and there was like 7,000 or 8,000 fans there, like piled in.
Nice.
And it was raining, and that many people showed up, so that was cool.
Have you been invited to IDC?
I haven't been invited.
What, Brian?
Yeah, like, I mean, kind of. Like they're like, oh, like if you want to come, like you can come drive. Like, but I haven't actually been invited out
Officially,
there.
like we have a car for you. Something like that.
Nothing yet. Matt Field and I were trying to put my E46 together to ship it over there to drive.
Oh. Yep.
So if I get some budget together, I can find some partners over there. I'd like to build my E46 and take it over there.
That'd be cool. Corey, you have another question?
A lot of international events. They're all super fun. You know, it's really great to get to meet different people from all over the world that share the same interests, and everyone drives like out of their minds over there. It's so crazy.
Seems like you should fit right on Gatville.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
I would love to go there. It's just I can't afford to go there and drive like one of my cars. It would have to be like an arrive and drive kick there.
So last question, because we got this a couple times on there. What would be your biggest advice for somebody getting into Pro-Am or even going from Pro-Am to Pro 2? What's some advice you would give them to have a longer life in drifting rather than being burnt out and out?
Lay it on me.
So I have a video on YouTube that describes this, but
sum it up and we'll go watch that.
I'll sum it up real quick. So basically for Pro-Am, like 350, 400 horsepower car, super simple. Try to stay on the same tires. Find tires that are the most effective for you. So like if there's tires that cost $70 that do 5 laps, and there's tires that cost $100 that do 25 laps, spend $100 on the tire because it's cheaper per lap. Keep the car stupid simple and drive not to make mistakes. And I always say, like, when you win Pro-Am and you like didn't win every single event in Pro-Am, to drive Pro-Am again before you go dive into Pro 2. So you get more tandem practice. You know, when you drive Pro-Am, there's no limit to driving leads or follows. So just drive follows like as much as you can until people yell at you, and then get in the lead spot and then go right back into the follows. And going into the Pro 2, same thing. It's like, you know, I think the magic number for Pro 2 is probably 5.25 or 550 wheel horsepower. And you probably don't even really need that until Texas. The other tracks are doable with a little bit less. And again, just reliability, getting, you know, your partners in line. You know, in Pro 2, you're probably not getting a ton of budget to go drive. So you have to really like work with your partners to show them that, you know, you're a viable option that makes a return on investment for them. And that's the biggest thing. Just drive at whatever your comfort level is. If that's 70% or if it's 85%, drive at that all season and you'll do really well. You know, that's the biggest thing. Pro 2, you can win the event with just not making mistakes.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing. Like, you got guys out there that have like insane cars that just built them that are showing up to the first event like fresh off the dyno, never driven them. So like dude, just like don't make mistakes, win the event.
Yeah.
I talked to Travis Reeder about the same thing, and I was like, yo, just drive it 80% the entire time. And then when you get to top 4 and on, you can drive it as insane as you want. Because if you top 4 every event, you're going to win a championship. So,
There you go.
Brilliant.
As
he
far
didn't
as
win a championship, but he did well.
Yeah. He was right there.
As far as team management and media presence and all that stuff, any advice on that area?
Yeah, so obviously everybody thinks they can do everything themselves. I even think that, but it's not possible. So having someone run your partnerships like with your guidance is huge. Like even if they're just like a relative or a girlfriend or something, having them take on some of the load and work that you're doing. And then, having a team of at least 2 really, really good guys at every event is key. You need one guy changing tires, one guy checking over the car, even if it's your spotter and they have to run back and forth, like
Yeah.
having 2 guys minimum that know about your car is definitely key. And as far as like media and partnerships and social stuff, nowadays it's like the more content you can create that's real and people get to learn who you are, that's like key. That's like if you sound stupid, but like selfie cam a 10-second video of you like talking about your car and put it up. Like people love to see that stuff. So like everything's content, everything's awesome. Like I'm constantly having to tell myself, like, I know it sounds stupid, but like, I have nothing to put up on the internet. And I think like, wait, like 90% of the people out there have never done a burnout in their life. So like when you just go do something like that, that's so cool to like 90% of the people out there, So it's like the simplest things people don't get to do. You might be like washed out and be like, oh, like I'm working on my race car. Well, 90% of the people out there don't have race cars. So just post about it.
You know what, Corey? After we're done with the show, we should just go outside and do burnouts.
Yes.
Do burnouts.
Motivated for
done.
burnouts.
Take the cameras outside and smoke out the neighborhood.
You broke your car doing a celebratory
Yep, I
burnout
did.
last week.
I busted an axle doing 3rd gear burnies.
Third gear burners. That's nice.
Need that line lock, bro.
Hey,
Yeah, Ford, where you at?
Well, Chelsea, thank you for hanging out with us and getting us up to date on your program. We'll be seeing you out in Irwindale, but hopefully you can go out there and lay it down, last one of the season. But thanks again for everything, and we'll see you out there, my dude.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No problem.
We'll see you next time, bro.
Later, brother.
See you, man.
I hope he's not listening anymore because I hate that guy.
I'm still here.
Oh my God! Damn it!
Damn it.
Paco, how could you say that?
Jumped the
Come
gun.
on.
I had to do that because that's like Sam's thing.
Big Balls is having a hard time hanging up on him. That's why.
Come on, Brian, you're kid. There you go. At least we got it. We got his finger on screen. Thank you, Chelsea. We don't hate you, obviously. That was like my Sam Nelvin bit, and I knew he was still on. I mean, I can see it on the screen. I did it totally on purpose, Chelsea.
Oh, why
we
did you blow
love
the cover? Dang it.
But anyways, we're back from this conversation with Chelsea DeNofa. And you saw those memes with you've heard about the elf on the shelf?
Yeah.
But get
The
ready
Nofa
for
on the sofa?
Yeah, there's an elf on the sofa, and there's Corey Ondori, and I think it was like Sam
Paco on a taco,
that was
Sam on
very
a
obvious.
ham.
Sam on a ham. What will be yours?
I don't know.
Yeah, you know what it is.
Let's think about it.
Paco, really?
Nick, what rhymes with Nick? I can't think of
don't
anything.
know. I can't think of anything either, Paco.
You guys
Nick
are
on a
horrible.
Richard.
Yeah, there you go. That's close enough.
Nick, what do you think, man? What do you think of Chelsea?
He's a madman.
He's an animal, huh?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of his driving style. When you asked me who my favorite drivers were, that was definitely what made him come into play as one of those guys. I kind of catered myself and my own driving style around aggression and just wanting it really bad, and
Yep.
that's what I see in Chelsea's driving. Just putting it all on the line every time he's on the track.
Yeah. And then it's funny. You're friends with Ryan Littoral.
Yeah.
But you guys, like, I mean, it's like a cool story right there. Like, you didn't know that you were both on drifting, or how was that?
Yeah, it's really weird. I grew up in southern Orange County, Aliso Viejo, Laguna Niguel, Laguna Beach area.
Never
When I
heard of
lived
those
in
places.
Aliso,
Sound beautiful.
and when I lived in Aliso Viejo, I lived in an apartment complex called Niguel Summit. It was on Pacific Island Drive. It was basically a hill that divided Laguna Beach and Laguna Niguel. And I knew Ryan. We skateboarded together. His mom and him actually took me snowboarding for the first time.
Nice.
It was kind of crazy. And believe it or not, you posted a picture of my car on the 2F Performance page a while back. And Ryan recognized my name and messaged me on Instagram and was like, "Hey, did you happen to live in this apartment complex back in the day?" And I was like, "Yeah, I did." And everything kind of clicked and realized that we knew each other a while back.
That's
and
cool.
Somehow both ended up in S14.
So it's the accidental matchmaker.
Yeah, it's pretty
That's
crazy
cool.
story.
Yeah, we had Ryan on a couple shows, and unfortunately, he said he wasn't driving this year, but he said he might come back for pro. I think Corey, didn't he got his pro license?
Yeah.
So he might move on pro next year or something like that, right?
Could be rumor mill. Yeah, I think he did a cool thing. I think he took time off to go do party events, and he said, like, I talk to Ryan pretty often, and we just bounce ideas and laugh and tell dumb jokes to each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he was super pumped on running the events he did run, and he tried doing a little different marketing campaign to make the budget go a little bit further while still getting the same amount of marketing and media and dollars to run a good program. But I think sometimes the competition side wants to come back and say, all right, now I'm interested to compete again. So, yeah, hopefully he goes back. It sounds like he might.
Yeah, 'cause I gotta say, out of all the drivers who went at Grid Life, I would say him and Riley Sexsmith were the guys who were just like absolutely murdering. They were having the gnarliest entries, and every entry was a backwards entry. Every transition was a 90-degree transition. Just not giving a fuck, he's just flooring it. Oh, sorry, did I say the F word? My bad.
Well, that's what it is about those guys that kind of make them my favorite drivers. Is just the aggressive nature behind their driving style and trying to throw it backwards into every turn that is capable of doing so.
See, that's one of the things about Chelsea. I like to see him doing more party drifting. I remember that GoPro video from Pat Sakers from Turk Bash from a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Like everybody's just going at it, and then at the end of the video, Chelsea grabs a camera from his e-brake. He's like, "Oh, that shot was whack. Let me show you a different one." And he puts it on his bash bar and he slams the camera into the wall. I mean, that's pretty cool, Like that's Chelsea himself putting content, even if it's on somebody else's content.
Yeah, I want to see more of that for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, Chelsea, if you're listening, put more content where you're doing cool shit like burnouts and whatnot.
And that was what Ryan really wanted to concentrate on this year. When I had spoken to him before the season even started, he had talked about doing just exhibitions and fun events and kind of taking the stress of competition out of the program and making it more fun and enjoyable.
I think that's kind of a good way of doing it, like do a couple years of competition, then take a year off and do party drifting, and then maybe go back next year. I mean, Corey already did his 2 years of party drifting.
Well, it's it's funny though. It's like sometimes I kick myself doing that because, like I told the other people, it's like the sport of drifting is somewhat like technology in some sense, where it's ever evolving. What you get this year is out of date in 2 months, and it's out of date, and that's the development of the cars, the development of parts, engine packages, reliability. It's constantly changing. So when you do step away for 2-3 years and you jump back in thinking what you ran 3 years ago or 2 years ago is good, it's out of date.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about stepping away. So I think you should always have a foot in the door or very engaged with just the mechanical side and the driver side. And, if you can go out there and do 1 or 2 competitions that year while still doing party, I think that's probably the best way to do it, because when you're out for 2-3 years and you get back in, it's a different ballgame, man. It's much different. Because like I said, when I got in, obviously Daigo was the big dog there. And even at that point, the sport was, changing. They were judging speed, and they were, you hit a cone, that's a 0. You get a tire off, that's a 0. It was judged very strictly. The year after, they still had speed, but they were kind of a little bit lighter on judging. They kind of like, if you drop a tire, it's a deduction instead of a 0. The cars changed a little bit more, And then, 2 years, even just going back to Pro 2, it's like, man, Pro 2 cars now were what Pro 1 cars were years ago. Just the year. So it's like, man, it's and I would even consider the Z now almost at a Pro-Am level competitive car. Made 540, 550 wheel horsepower. It was very heavy. You're running on a 245 or 255 rear tire.
Yeah.
These guys built these cars specifically for that year, for that tire size, and for that weight. And that's what these guys are doing. So to take 2 years off, take 3 years off, and get back in, it's like there's a lot of catching up to do. There's still a lot of development to be done. But yeah, man, that's the thing about drifting is it's still young, so it's still constantly changing. There's still changing rules and changing a few things here and there, but it's like as long as you keep your foot in there and you're up to date with everything that's happening, you have a really good shot at doing well.
Yeah, I think it's really crucial to keep up with all that
Oh,
stuff.
dude, it's nuts. It really is.
Yeah, Nick, so this was your first year ever doing a Pro-Am, and you nailed it. Like, if I'm not mistaken, because I remember you had an SR20 before, right?
No.
Or KA?
KA.
So you had a KA, and you were doing pretty good, and you went straight to V8, and the V8 took you like a whole year, like a little longer than what you expected, but then suddenly you put the car together, and you go straight to Pro-Am, and you won. Like, what the fuck, dude? What are you?
Oh my God, Paco, another F-bomb.
There was a little bit of trial and error between, taking this whole season all the way through. When we originally built the car, it was a year after driving it, and it's pretty much stock form. It had a welded diff and coilovers, and I did some weight reduction and stuff, but I learned how to drive on a bone stock KA, and it got to the point where I kind of felt like I wasn't really going to advance anymore as a driver until I had a little bit more car under me. And that was when I decided to build the LS Pro-Am car with every intention of running Pro-Am, but I actually put an LQ9 in the car and ran 3 practice events, and then went and ran my first Pro-Am event, which was round 3, 2015.
Last year. No, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh,
and,
okay.
I actually qualified my first event in Tucson.
Mm-hmm.
Qualified 12th. Went into tandem practice, and on my very last tandem practice run, the LQ9 that I had put in the car grenaded in a fantastic way.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing some of those.
It took
photos.
2 whole cylinders and gobbled them into metal shrapnel. It was pretty incredible.
Beautiful.
But yeah, we took I think it was about 8 months to get everything put back together and kind of make the decisions on which route to go.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up putting a CBM fully built LS1 into the car.
Nice.
Could not be happier with that thing. It's gotten me all the way through the season without any issues whatsoever. Dyno Comp installed it. They did a great job. David Ferreira, he's the man.
What do you think? Obviously you got a good you got a good engine package, you got a good build, but people keeps asking us, so how much does it cost to run Pro 2? How much does it cost to run, FD? But for you, how much do you think it in approximate, you don't have to get into detail, but how much do you think you spend in that whole year of a successful program, running enough tires to give you a championship, an engine that didn't fail, traveling to at least 3 cities, because, one of the rounds was local, but what do you think it's about your expenses so far?
I haven't calculated the exact number. If I had to guess, it'd probably be around $8,000.
$8,000.
Right around there.
Does that include the cost of the car?
No,
just
not. I'm talking tires, fuel, travel, entry fees, stuff like that. The whole season was probably about somewhere between $7,000 and $8,000.
And do you think you have let's say 10 grand on your car?
No, way more than that.
More 20?
Especially with the second engine.
That CBM engine wasn't cheap.
Yeah, it's probably somewhere between 30 and 35.
So 35 plus 7. That's a good idea of how to start with a very. I'm sure it can be done with less car.
Yeah,
don't get me wrong.
To tell you the truth, I'm the kind of guy that wants the nicest stuff.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I want to have the peace of mind that I bought good quality products and that I can, kick the clutch with my mind at ease, knowing that it's not going to blow apart.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a cheaper way to do it. But yeah, that's about what I spent on the car.
But let's say at least 7 to 8 grand to just run the whole year, which is not bad if you think about it. And that's talking about like running a lot of rounds. How many tires you go through? Like how many runs a set of tires last you?
Very dependent on the track. However, I think in Vegas for round 1, I went through 14 tires, and that was going all the way to the finals. Same thing in
So like seven sets.
yeah.
Okay.
Round 3, I went through I think 10 or 12 tires. Round 2, I placed 5th, so I didn't go all the way to the finals, and it was raining, so I only used like 6
some
tires
money,
out
yep.
there. And then round 4 again, had some issues in qualifying and ended up spinning against my good friend Tony
No.
and only used 6 tires out there.
And what tires you running?
Maxxis tires. We run the VR1. It's a 200 tread wear compound.
Is it the same one they use at FD, Corey?
Maxxis is not an FD anymore.
Yeah, they're
Oh.
focusing on grassroots right now.
Got it. That's right. I was confusing brands for a moment.
I actually ran the MAZ1 drift compound for half of the season, and that was a 280 tread wear.
Mhm.
And it's kind of funny. My buddy Roz in the Evo, I really wanted to make my car competitive against
Mhm.
him because he's super fast. So I decided to do some changes and go to the VR1, a little bit stickier setup, and it definitely sped the car up a lot.
Okay. So you definitely recommend very sticky tire.
Yeah, it depends on your horsepower, but
Uh-huh.
yeah, I like a grippy, fast setup with, snappy transitions, and it definitely catered more to my driving style to have that tire back there.
Do you remember what you had on the 240, Corey, when you did Pro-Am? Because you also did Pro-Am 1 year. You got your
Mhm.
license that very same year.
Yeah, I was running RT 615Ks Falcons.
Oh, the Falcons. And
Mhm.
what was the horsepower on that? 13?
380.
It was like a
it was
basic
a stock
LS,
LS
right?
with a cam, yeah.
What size tire?
What was that?
I want to say it was a 255. Yeah, I want to say it was a 255 looking back.
Huh.
Yeah, I think having a 265 under a 400 horsepower car is kind of
Like a magic combo right there.
yeah. I mean, it's, for the way that I like to drive the car, it's really fast off the line. You can throw the car at a wall or at
you
a
can
clipping
see.
point and be able to drive it out of it. And the Maxxis compounds have just really came together. They
Yeah.
make tons of smoke and tons of grip, and the range of grip is pretty drastic
Yeah.
with the tire pressure. So
Mhm.
One of the things that and correct me, Corey, if I'm wrong, but for example, like one of the things that your car looks pretty, and then like Andrew's car looks pretty. Like how important do you think it is to have a good image and a good presence, on Pro-Am level? Because there's even Ross cars, it's got an Evo with a V8, but it's like all white.
yeah, I've
You know,
actually
like-
spoken to Roz about that, and he has some pretty firm views on sponsorships and stuff like that. So I don't want to get too deep into his
Yeah.
program, but he's very firm on his beliefs on sponsorships and the way that he wants to run his program. So
Yeah, but I mean, as far as not necessarily as sponsors, but as far as making the car look like cool, look like this is something I want to show, this is something I want people to look at, and just make it look cool while sliding, because I think that's a big point. When you see a car going sideways, and it just doesn't have like enough presence of enough colors. It just doesn't, like when it's all black, like you just can't really see how much angle you're really putting. Don't you think that's an important aspect for judging, Corey? Like you were judging last round.
I don't look at the car necessarily for judging.
Yeah.
I like as far as the way it's cosmetically put together, because we're not necessarily judging that. But where you sell that to is that justifies your program.
yeah,
Well,
I
but
think that caters more to spectators and sponsors than
Well, yeah,
judging.
but what I'm saying is like when the car looks more like when it jumps up more, you can see him doing whatever it is that they're doing a lot better. You know what I'm saying? It's like when they did the tires, the wheels had like a mark so you can see the rotation.
Yeah, I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that technical.
Okay.
I don't. I wouldn't go that far in technicalities as far as the color affects or influences the way the car is being judged or looking. What that does affect is, once again, how your program operates. Obviously, you go out there and you have a terrible looking car versus a car next to Andrew's or Nick's. Why would you want to invest in a 240 that has no panels in it?
Yeah.
That could be making 1,000 horsepower, but it's just cosmetically not appealing. And you could look at like Matthew Dell's car.
Yeah.
Right? That's a plain, simple black car,
Yeah.
and he ended up winning the event. But he drove really well. But once again, now if you were to have like literally a car show and have Nick's car next to it, obviously everybody's going to have a better, more of a draw towards that car. And, a lot of people are like, man, FD is a rolling car show because you want that cosmetic look to kind of almost not separate yourself from everybody else, but have your own unique image and personality.
You have more
show.
leverage.
It's just your it's your canvas.
You have more leverage to work with sponsors as well, because at the end of the day, they rather, like, if they have to choose between two drivers that they both have a very good program, they probably gonna end up picking up the guy who's got the best looking car at the end of the day. If they're both in the same level.
Yeah,
if the performance is the same, obviously there's gonna be a little influence because they want their brand on a car that looks nice. They don't want their brand on a car that's missing bumpers.
We've talked about this before, like even when, for example, I get a bunch of sponsorship proposals, and a lot of them they just like put together on PowerPoint or just like a Word document with some photos that like cell phone photos. It just not appealing.
Right.
But when you get a nice proposal with nice photos, the car in the photo obviously looks pretty cool, and it shows like these guys committing so much to this program that you're gonna get better results, better return of investment.
100%. And I think that's where it's really affected. It's not necessarily affected on track type of judging or performance.
So yeah, I think you're doing right. The car looks good, and actually there's some questions for you as well, man. From the Instagrammers want to know. Let's see. Like Iron Dookie, he's asking. Yep. He says, Nick Gross, how confident are you about making the jump to Pro 2, and what are you looking forward the most?
Well, definitely not feeling super confident yet. This was my first season of competition. If you think about it, I technically only have 4 rounds of Pro-Am 5 rounds of Pro-Am under my belt, and I attended LS Fest, so 5 or 6 rounds of competition to me just is not enough seat time and experience as a driver to jump into the pros. I just definitely feel like I need to advance more as a driver and also build my program up to be able to support a Pro 2 season.
Here's one from Blackhand Brandon. What are 3 pieces of advice you would tell your best friend if he or she wanted to go Pro-Am?
I would kind of refer back to what Chelsea was saying, keeping it simple and reliable and trying to keep things very level, run on the same tire all season. Don't throw too many variables at yourself, and, just consistency is key. I didn't stand on the top of the podium at all this season and somehow managed to pull out the season championship, and that was all done through consistent qualifying and consistent top 10 finishes. So that would probably be the 3 that I would say. Keep the car simple, run on the same tire, and just try and be as consistent as possible.
Nice.
Question. I don't know who's this username. You might know her username is Ilya Marie. Is that somebody you know, Nick?
Yeah, that's my girlfriend.
Oh, there you go. So she's asking, what's your favorite color?
Oh, that's easy. It's green.
Green, like your car. Oh, that was pretty bad.
Nathan, here's one. Nathan Becky, what changes can we expect to your car for next season, and who would you like to be on a team with in Pro 2 or Pro 1?
Oh, that's a really good question.
Yeah.
Right now, there's a lot of options on the table as far as changes for the car. The one that I'm more so leaning towards is the supercharger that I've had sitting at home for a while. Probably going to put the Magnuson on there, try and put the car up to about 650 horsepower. And we're also going to do a tube front, tube rear cooling, rear fuel cell. Try and just get the car, a couple steps closer to a pro car.
So if you move to Pro 2, you would think of bringing the same car, right?
Yeah, it would definitely be the same chassis. I would have to definitely address a couple things for passing tech for Pro and for FD tech, but I don't think the car's too far off from it.
Okay.
Who would you pick as a teammate for Pro 1 or Pro 2?
Pro 2.
If I could pick anybody, it would be Ryan, just because he's my buddy from way back.
Nice.
I
Ryan
really
Literal.
like his driving style, and I think we could have some fun together.
What about a team on Pro-Am? If you run Pro-Am again? I mean, would you run Pro-Am again before trying to Pro 2, or do you?
That's kind of one of the major decisions I have to make in the off season is if I want to run another season of Pro-Am, if I want to spend my time trying to get a little bit more valuable seat time with some drivers that are a lot further advanced than I am.
Yeah.
If I drive in Pro-Am again, I'm going to be driving against a lot of the same people.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to get more experience with different types of cars,
Probably
different types of drivers,
Driving
different tracks.
against more advanced drivers.
Yeah, exactly.
See, like that's an aspect about going straight to Pro 2, Corey.
Mm-hmm.
That I think a lot of people. I mean, most people say, like, if you just want Pro-Am, try to run another year of Pro-Am. But maybe that approach of, I'm going to go to Pro 2, not necessarily to win, but to get the experience of, driving against these bigger drivers. Because do you remember, like, on some Pro-Am rounds when you had, like, a licensed driver that's still running, and a lot of the drivers were, like, complaining, like, oh, we're going against this guy who's licensed. It's like, that's actually a good thing. You want to learn. You want to go against these badass drivers to get that experience of what you're, at least if you're trying to move higher. I mean, it's probably like an expensive.
Isn't like the point of competition to compete or beat the best? So it's like, even if FD guy comes down to Pro-Am, why would you not want to try to beat him? That should be more fuel for the fire rather than, because as for competition, you want to see where you stand against the best in the world, right? And I think driving in Pro-Am is a wonderful thing. I think staying a little bit longer if you know you need to brush up on certain skills, it's a great thing. But when I made the jump 1 year of Pro-Am, actually I only did 1 year of drifting, and that was my rookie year where I ended up coincidentally getting my license to Pro 1 at that time.
Mm-hmm.
It's two different series. It's two different sports, it feels like, because the level
it's such a big leap.
It is such a big leap. And I was obviously unprepared for it. I was totally unprepared for it. But it was a dramatic leap. But I think even if you go out once again and do a select round or two and see, okay, where are we at playing wise, and still compete in Pro-Am, that would probably be the best bet, because by competing in Pro-Am, if you still do well, it solidifies another Pro 2 license, but then also gets you seat time. That's affordable. Pro 2, once again, it's probably what you spend on a full season of Pro-Am is probably the cost of maybe one round of Pro 2.
But maybe that round itself might be worth, like
it's
at
worth
least
it's worth the value, because you're
driving.
not wasting the money competing in all rounds and learning. It's like, okay, you get in one of the first two rounds, take the rest of the time off, go compete in Pro.
Also, as a company, like, wouldn't you see more value on a driver that sends you a proposal when he's already doing Pro 2 than somebody who's doing Pro-Am? So maybe there's more chances of landing better sponsorship deals.
I don't know. I really don't know. And the only reason I say that is because it's all dependent on what your program is offering, right? Because you can look at somebody like Hurt, who's never stepped foot in competition, and is working with some. But that's my point, right? You don't need Pro 2 competition or Pro-Am competition to seal the deal as long as your program is good.
Yeah,
so
that's what Ryan's doing. He's going to all these exhibition events.
So it all just depends.
But he's pro driver, licensed driver.
But he's not using it. You know what I mean?
No, it doesn't matter. But I mean, he has. I mean, like, for you, it already you have some weight saying like you'll have a pro.
But does that matter if you have guys out there like Hurt that doesn't have anything other than just his media package?
Yeah, but I don't think it's a point of comparison, because he's not.
Sure, it is. Absolutely,
I'm talking about you think some sponsors rather focus on competitive drifting? Not all of them, but some of them might.
Some of them might, but I think, the question is, why do some of these guys invest into the sport? Why do these guys, that's something you're going to have to ask a sponsor, because, let me ask you, okay, you're right, you want to be in the sport? Do you want to sponsor a guy in Formula Drift just because he's in Formula Drift, or would you want to sponsor a guy that is proactive in producing content and getting you media every single week? Where's the value at? What would you pick?
I think it's overall exposure,
What are you buying when you say, oh, I'm a Pro 2 team? Well, you could be a Pro 2 team, but are you paying to be in the pits and have people seeing your car in competition? Or are you investing into somebody that's delivering you hundreds of thousands of views, great media package, and a cool looking car?
Oh, absolutely. But
that's what we're comparing here, right?
Yeah,
so
but
it's like, if you go with the Pro 2.
If you have both, if you are making content but also doing competition,
Right.
You know,
So
I
that's
mean,
why I says it depends on
Yeah.
what you're offering. If you're just saying, hey, I'm a Pro 2 driver, it's probably not going to cut it.
I think it also has to be dependent on what kind of company you're talking about. Because if you're talking about like a high performance company, they're probably not that interested on the party drifting. You know, they probably want to cater more to the professional drifters.
Yeah, just
Where, for example, like in my body kit company, it might benefit more from party drifting, even though like we sponsor pro drivers, we still get a lot of
Well, think about this. When you sponsor a pro driver, what are you sponsoring? You're sponsoring the brand and the name of the driver,
Yeah.
right?
But
But if
it-
you
it-
get your stuff on
yeah.
Dye's Car and Kangushi, it's like, I'm on Dye's Car and
you
Kangushi.
legitimize the brand.
I'm on Ryan Turek's missile car. I'm on
Yeah.
Forsberg. You're not even on their pro car. You're on their missile cars.
Yeah.
But you invest in them because of who they are.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Yeah, like I mean, but yeah, that's like on the higher level. But even like Pro 2 drivers, you know, when Pro 2 drivers approach us and they want our kits, we give them the same deal that we give to the pro drivers as well.
Right.
So, you know, like it's not like, oh, you're Pro 2. Well, I mean, we can't give you that much. Where, for example, for Pro-Am guys, like, well, I mean, you're in Pro-Am, we can give you a discount. If you're in Pro 2, we can give you the same deal that we give to pro drivers.
And you do that because of the exposure that they get from the series,
Exactly.
right? So what if you had somebody that's not competing in that but is able to give way more exposure than any of
Yeah,
those?
absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, and
So-
we do that as well. Yeah.
Right. So that's all. Once again, like when you go and approach these guys, I don't think you need necessarily be in Pro 2 or Pro 1. It's just what
Yeah.
are you doing to solidify yourself as a personal
Yeah.
brand in motorsports to make them want to invest in
Yeah.
you?
And like, I mean, Rob Parsons is an example.
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
he's
like
a great example.
Yeah, he's rocking our stuff, but he puts great content. all
Great
the time.
content. He's a great spokesmodel.
He's
He
fun
carries
dude.
the brand
Yeah.
well. He's works with other big names
Yeah.
in the industry that see the same value that you do in him. I think that's overall what they look at as your product. Now, once again, you could see some of these guys in Pro 1, no personality, no image, no content, and
Yeah.
once again, they're one more of the self-funded team. They haven't really niched themselves into anything. They're not really portraying any type of quality content or an image where people can connect to.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of the sport or anything, any baseball, football,
Oh, yeah.
any sport in general. It's you're drawn toward the guys who end up standing out and are
Yeah.
able to create a relationship virtually or personally with you
Yep.
that makes you. So that's what it is essentially. It's how can you connect with all these people?
And even how you present yourself. I mean, that's one of the things I keep telling the drivers, like this guy, you know, like he's fucking got the nice hair, looking clean cut. That means a lot, you know. Like when you're representing others' brands, the way you present yourself makes an impact. I mean, you know, the way you've done your program, you know, like being like this funny guy. Everybody who's listening, Corey in real life, he's just boring.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
he doesn't do anything.
Super basic.
Yeah, exactly. like you know, everything is so. It's that mustache is fake. It's a stick-on
Yep.
mustache. He doesn't even wear glasses.
Nope, that's all part of it.
It's part of the
all.
part. But you're doing it right.
No, it's just once again, it's all on what you're offering
Yeah.
and what you can rate. I just do what I do. I just like obviously having fun, and people can relate with having fun. People can relate with laughter and comedy and driving and cool cars, and that's what I
Yeah.
do. And if people like it, that's cool. If not,
Which brings me to one thing, Corey. What's that thing up there in the corner of the studio?
oh, that's a mini Larry and
It's
Tyser.
a mini Larry. It's
Larry
not mini. It's
Tyser.
actually bigger.
Oh yeah.
Wanna bring it on?
Life
Wanna bring it on
size.
screen?
That's larger than life, I think.
For those who don't know, Larry Enticer, or as we call him, Larry the Enticer, because it feels like he just entices things. He was here in Phoenix this weekend, and obviously it's like Corey's twin brother. Sorry, Dustin. Like these guys just like Corey. You tell us what happened.
No, once again, this is a prime example of creating fun content and just being yourself and being out there. And you know, I was friends with Mitch, his brother, and you know, talked to those guys quite a bit. They're obviously from Canada, but once again, we all share the same passions of comedy and content. And you know, they knew the Hoonigan Sponsor Me video and all the other done stuff. And like we were talking about them. They're like, dude, we're gonna be in town doing an appearance at this place. How far is
Yeah.
it from your house? And I'm like, dude, you're like 15 minutes away. So it's like, dude, let's get together. Let's hang out. Let's like
party.
talk about content. Let's party a little bit, which is, you know, once again, that's how we relate and connected. We were just purely connected off of humor and comedy and fun and driving and cool stuff. And so we ended up hanging out for a couple days, and we created an alliance.
What's it called?
It's called The Danger Daddies.
The Danger Daddies.
Yep. But
That's
once
good.
again, it's just you look at like Hurt and Rob and me and Dustin, the Twins Dragons, and the Unprofessionals. It's you're relating to the same people who have the similar interests in you, and coincidentally, ours is good times and laughter.
The passion on dad bod.
Oh yeah,
And
dude, I was super self-conscious about showing off my body, but when Larry shows up in his denim jacket with his gut hanging, I'm like,
holy shit.
nice job, dude. It's just like, you know what I mean? It was just purely just for the fun of it. But
What does enticer mean? It's like it motivates you, right?
well, it's actually named off the Yamaha Enticer, which is the like 1989 jet ski that he runs. So that's what it is. He cruises around the old Yamaha
Snowmobile.
Enticer. Yeah, the old snowmobile.
But
Sorry,
like an enticer is like somebody who like motivates you to do things. So you
Enticing.
got enticed.
Oh, for sure. Motivated me to show off my fat gut everywhere I go now. So now I wear an unbuttoned cut off sleeve flannel shirt.
That was
No,
that's
but then
like
once
a lot of
again,
fun.
he's a great example of somebody, and it's funny because like you look at somebody like Larry or Mitch, his brother. It's like these dudes just go out there, have a good time, and people follow them to be a part of that good time, and they're able to get endorsements and people investing in them and wanting to be a part of it because they're just such unique people, and they're some of the funniest dudes I've ever met in my life. Oh, look at there's Lair.
gonna send it.
There's Lair Dog. Lair Dog drinking a brewski. Hey, go ahead and play that top video, Brian. That was on my.
Yes.
But
did
that-
you ask him like if he got that whole send it thing from Jared?
No, that's just like a Canadian
He just
saying.
oh, okay.
Hey, bud, are you gonna go send it?
You gotta
Like,
send it.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna send it. Oh,
This is Lair Dog flying down the stairs in a kayak.
oh my God.
I saw that earlier too.
Oh yeah, that's like 25.
Can you send it?
That's like
House.
so we're hanging out with Lair Dog, and these guys just egg each other on all the time. We were just egging each other on.
Look at him.
So good.
Oh, he's gonna send it again.
Oh god. Yeah. So what Larry
Yep,
does
yep.
is that's probably like 50 stairs deep. And he's going down it on a kayak. And he probably hit like 25, 30 miles an hour straight in the
Like
wall.
that's two stories.
Oh, easy. Yeah.
Thanks, Brian.
But once again, people watch that, and this is what they do.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
Yep, meant to be, man. But that's
Match made in heaven.
but people, that's content that people can relate to, and he can sell that. Do you know this is just me?
Yeah.
This is what I do. If you want to be a part of it, great. If not, see you later. It doesn't matter to me because I'm doing it either way, and that's what makes people so sellable is finding something that people can relate with. Some of it's drifting, some of it's cars, some of it's comedy, some of it's sweet haircuts. You never know, man.
By
There
the
you
way,
go.
shout out to Yasmin Soren, Milan Salon and Spas.
Oh,
Jasmine,
She's so fresh.
she's Chris's wife, my partner with 2F. She did ProAm as well.
Yeah.
Her
Yeah.
first ProAm.
That was awesome.
Yeah, and she qualified. and
yeah. It
everything.
just there's a variety of drivers coming up through the series, and once again, they're all unique in their own way. You got a lot of female drivers come up. You got a lot of newcomers coming up through the ranks that maybe their first year. It's once again, it just shows the progression of the sport that it's ever evolving, and this is happening around the world entirely. And I think that's why it's going to solidify drifting as a sport on a professional level. You have guys like FIA getting more involved. It's like, dude, just find a way to get in for a long haul. And that's, when we were talking to Chelsea, it's, hey, how can a Pro-Am guy get into Pro 1? That's not a good question to ask, because
By
what the thing
winning.
is a lot of people get into Pro 1 and they're gone within 2 events because they just can't get hang or don't understand the full grasp. It's how can you have a longevity and a life in the sport?
Yeah, that's why I'm not trying to rush into Pro 2. I want to make sure everything's prepared and ready
That's-
to go before you dive into the deep end. And
That's one thing that I look at, and you can look at drivers throughout the years in Pro 1 and Pro 2 that have came in, did half a season, and they're like, dude, drifting sucks. It's so expensive. It's this and that. And well, did you prepare correctly? Did you get your program together? Did you do everything to make sure you have a long-term goal? Because a lot of people may just plan and budget for half a season or for 1 year, and then after that, they're not planning ahead. It's like when you step into Pro 1 or Pro 2 or even Pro-Am, set an end goal, set a budget, set a game plan so you can live that whole program out.
Yeah.
And then once you get halfway through that, start planning 2 or 3 more years down the road. And a lot of these guys that get into like the bigger teams, they do 3-year deals, 3-year contracts. First year's learning, second year's developing, third year's winning. That you have to have that. If it's just, I'm going to go out there, compete and win, well, that's going to be your career. You're going to go out there, try to compete and win, and you may or may not, right? But that's not going to seal the deal for you for the next 2-3 years. It's finding a way to create a living and a life in the sport, and it's probably one of the most difficult things to do. It is doable, but you have to plan and prepare for it.
Interesting. Yeah, I never thought of that. Like that whole 3-year. It's like a 3-year program.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Because I think like almost every driver who gets into the sport, they just want to eat the world in the first bite.
Yep.
Just like
they want to take it in one chunk, and
Yeah.
you can try to do that.
Like-
it may not be pretty.
choking on the hot dog.
Yeah.
Like you have to bite it little by little. Don't
Yeah, I
try to
think-
swallow it right away.
I
It's
think
gon-
you got to be realistic. You know what I mean? You can't strive for anything that's too far out of reach. Like it's one thing to set goals for yourself, but to set a goal that's farther than your program can support is not
Oh,
realistic.
yep, and that's when you get the attitude of like, this is stupid. It's too much money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I can't do it anymore because you did it to yourself.
Yeah.
You literally did it to yourself. And if you had a better strategy, it's like, you know what? I planned for this. I prepared this. I knew I was going to spend this much, or I budgeted this much. And then you can start tailoring your program around that. If you save money in certain rounds, you can spend them in others. And I've talked about this before. If I could change anything in my program, I'd get a great media team together so I can supply better content for my guys. Because once again, they're supporting you, and the reason they're supporting you is for that content. So it's
You should team up with Larry and Tyser, just like make him, like
It's
your mascot.
the Danger
and-
Daddies.
Danger
coming back
Dad.
out.
Yeah. Just do
No, but that's it. Is
Yeah.
what can you do to stay long term in the sport? If you want to go out there and just turn and burn 1 year, sure, go do
Yeah.
it. Check it off your bucket list and go. But if it's like, do you know what? If you're super passionate about this and you're like, dude, I want to be a drifter for a long time, plan and
Yeah.
prepare for it rather than wasting your whole wad in one round.
Yeah, I think that's a problem. Like keeping it fun without breaking the piggy bank.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or
Without going homeless.
Yeah. Whatever it takes. Some people will go homeless to try to make it big, and sometimes it works out.
Yeah. Have to
You talked it like one dude. You remember when we talked to Ryan Turk? He's like, the first round of Long Beach I drove my S13 with tires in the back to empty Long Beach, right? He
Okay.
gambled a little bit,
Yeah.
obviously, to be there. He threw his eggs all in one basket, and he was committed to it, but his plan was to be a top competitor.
Yep.
And he had to stick it through, but that was his game plan, and he executed it. But the first round, he had to sacrifice everything
Yeah.
to street drive his car to the event to be able to compete. There's so many different ways of doing it, but it's projecting out your 3 years or couple year goal and saying this is what we're doing, so you don't lose it. Don't lose the motivation because you lost it all in one round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, with that said, Nick, are you gonna run Atlanta next year?
I really wanted to pick one Pro 2 event to run, and obviously that's all the way on the other side of the country, and I wanted to do it kind of towards the end of the season, just to get the car done, get some seat time in the car if I do end up putting the blower on it, and getting used to it before trying to go drive with the big boys. But,
Yeah.
I really think that what I'm gonna end up doing is maybe running one round in a couple different Pro-Am series, like Top Drift
Oh, cool.
and Vegas Drift, and going to ASB next year and trying to set up some practice days with Ryan and maybe Odie and some of the guys that are up there in the top level of competition, and just go run door to door with them at some fun no stress practice events and get some really valuable seat time in.
Yeah, you should do the grid lives and the street drivens and
If I could make one suggestion,
the final bout. Yes.
if I could make one
please,
suggestion,
Corey,
what I would do if I were to do it in your shoes, I would run one of the first 2 rounds.
Really?
I would run one of the first 2 rounds because what you can do is because I think there's one starts in April, end of April or May, which will be Florida, and then Atlanta would be immediately after that. And there's like a 3-month break, and then you go back and then you use Seattle, and then there's another month, and there's Texas. If you do one of the first 2 rounds, everybody's fresh. Everybody's green at that point. Everybody's new.
and everybody knows you.
There's no advantage. Like for me, running in Texas was probably the worst thing I could have done because everybody has 3 events underneath their belt. Their cars are developed. Their teams are developed.
Yeah.
Everything is good to go.
But you had to. Like it was like.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
I don't regret it at all.
Yeah.
But I'm
Because
just
obviously
saying,
the idea was run the whole thing. I mean.
right,
you
right,
know,
and
but
obviously things happen.
yeah.
But what I'm saying is, if somebody wants to step in the last rounds, it's probably one of the worst things you do for that reason because you're already competing against and going against these guys that have 4 rounds or 3 rounds of development. They will go drive Atlanta, take it home. How'd the car do? All right, let's make changes and repair it. Go back to the Seattle. Man, car's 100 times better because you can feel out the competition. But if you jump into Texas, right, everybody's good to go. They've been driving all year. You're green. You're fresh. Now you take a whole year off, 8 months off. You go back. Once again, now you're dialing into what was competition the year prior.
Well, see, I didn't want to start my next season at a later round of Pro 2.
Right.
I wanted to get used to the changes that I made to the car before jumping into a Pro 2 event. But what you're saying makes sense for sure.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
still plenty of-
Yeah. And that's what I'm getting at. Is there's a couple rounds and a couple things you can test and develop, but the later you get into Pro 2, even one round, the later you're getting behind them, because it is a big jump from Pro-Am to Pro 2. It's a huge jump. It's equivalent from going to Pro-Am to Pro-Am what it was back in the day. It's just such a dramatic jump. But the sooner you can get into there and get a couple laps, you can take the next 3-4 months off developing and still driving your car, but at least you know what the groundwork is for a lot of these guys.
Round 2 of Pro 2 is Jersey.
Atlanta. Oh, Pro 2? It's Atlanta.
Round 2. Which one's the first one?
Florida. You're talking about Pro
that's
1.
right, yeah.
Pro 2 doesn't go to New Jersey.
Yeah. So it's Florida, Atlanta,
Seattle, Texas.
I would go to Atlanta.
Atlanta 100%.
Yeah, second round.
That track would be quite a blast.
It is.
There's plenty of runoff. You're not
badass.
going to smoke. Like Florida's a cool track because that almost reminds me of Wall because of how long the bank is. It's cool to drive on a bank. It's a fun course. But Atlanta, it's super fast. There's no crazy walls to hit. You can drive as hard as you want. You'd go in the gravel trap. But like some of the other courses, like Texas, for example, you're coming off the fastest part of the track right into a wall. A lot of sacrifice there.
That smoke screen too.
That smoke screen.
Yeah.
Florida, once again, there's a wall in the initiation, which some guys get sucked up into, and that can ruin your whole season. You go out that early in the round, you're going to be spending the next 3-4 weeks trying to get your car back together. Yeah, it's all strategy, man. And once again, that's the whole point. If you go out there and total your car in Long Beach, you're probably going to be pretty shitty for the next couple weeks trying to get that thing back together, and that's when it starts burning people. So it's all about preparation and planning how you want to do it.
And maybe Raz, I mean, if he's trying to do something similar, maybe you guys can team up and just travel together and split the cost. That's something that I just don't understand how many drivers just drive by themselves where they could be like literally splitting costs by half. On at least on traveling. Because there's a lot.
That just depends. Do you have a 2-car trailer? You know what I mean? Like that's half of it. And Raz is in California, right? Yeah. And you're here, so it's a matter of still linking. It's still a matter of linking up and getting together. There's a lot of logistics in that, but if you were in the perfect case scenario, you want to be with somebody that's like, you know what? All right, we're local, or hey, it's always en route. I can pick you up and we can drive out together.
Well, what about Go Fast? Isn't that what they do? Like the logistics for
Easy Go Fast, Russ. They do all different kinds of logistics in motorsports. If you want to get the car to Atlanta, but you got to work and don't have the time to drive across the country, they'll get it there. You fly in, drive the car, and fly home. They'll get it back for you.
Like a boss.
Yeah, they can run the full pit setup, full transportation, all kinds of concierge for motorsports. Basically anything you could think of. You blow a turbo during practice or something, they'll pick one up and drive it to you.
Oh, that's cool.
That's gnarly.
I mean, that's a good contact to have. Like, are you sponsored by them, or you?
Yeah. That was actually probably the most influential sponsor for my program this last year. Russ came to almost every event, changed tires. Did everything he could to support me and the rest of the guys on the team this year. I owe a lot to him for sure.
Cool.
That's cool. Anything else you want to add before we send you back home?
Definitely. Just want to say thanks to all my sponsors. There's no way this season would have happened without all you guys. Paco and Chris at 2F, the guys at Dyno Comp, Easy Go Fast, Ravi from We Don't Lift, Max's Tires for sure, Voodoo, CBM, Prime Suspension, America Motorsports, Forza Automotive, EA Finishes, all you guys. Love you all. Thank you so much.
Yeah, big support.
That's very nice.
Who do you like to thank, Paco? Anybody?
Who I like to thank.
I want to thank Big Balls Brian for surfing Cam Soda the whole time over there.
Not only Big Balls Brian had like a big head. What do you call that? The headaches. I had a migraine. I call it margarine.
He had a margarita.
He had
grain.
a big margarine earlier today, so he's working against his will.
Oh, poor. That's why his eyes look so beady right now.
But he's still doing pretty good. He doesn't have a microphone today. He's grounded.
Oh.
But we just took the Brian's microphone to give it to Nick, so it's Nick's fault. Blame
I'll take
Nick.
the blame.
But thanks, Brian. If you want to follow Brian, go check him out at 8-Bit Brian on Instagram. He put some cool content, video game content and simulation. A lot of sim videos. There's a lot of cool stuff in there. Where can people find you, Nick?
Nick Gross _drift on Instagram and Facebook.com/Nick Gross _drift.
Nick Gross _drift. Corey, do you think it's better to have like that or just like Nick Gross? Like your Instagram is just Corey Hosford.
Yep. I try to make it as simple as possible.
As simple as possible. That's one of the things that I was gonna say. That I think I recommend like people who's like trying to move up into the media circle, try to have the least amount of underscores, the least amount of stuff.
Believe it or not, there's a lot of Nick Grosses out there.
Really?
It was taken
That's
already.
gross. Yeah, 8-bit _Brian. The thing is, like, as soon as you type 8-bit, there's only like 3 or 4. Actually, Jesus, no, actually, there's probably a lot of it. But yeah, 8-bit _Brian. But same thing, you know. If you guys get rid of the underscores, if possible. If not, like Nick Gross 69, which we know is your favorite number.
Yep.
Or Nick Gross.
Come on, Paco.
Nick Gross 420. Nick Gross.
It used to be Nick Gross 42.
God damn it. Close enough.
Dang.
No, it's fine. But so anyways, Nick Gross _drift. At least for now, we'll see. I'll peer pressure him to change his name. It's got to be William Gross.
Yep. Not bad.
Corey, you can find you at...
Yeah, just at Corey Hosford. Keep it simple, basic.
Dude, by the way, real quick, before we go, hot dogs.
Dude, my brother got a hot dog cart.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Hoss doggies.
Hoss doggies.
Yeah.
So totally, it wasn't planned. It just happened. It's on the family. It's on the blood.
Oh, it's in our veins.
Yeah,
Corey's
Corey's brother, who's dirt. What do you call it? Sprint car racer. He decided, fuck it. The sprint cars are stupid.
Hot dog carts are way easier to drive.
I'm moving into the hot dogs, and he got himself a hot dog cart, which is super bitchin'.
We'll post a picture of it.
Yeah, we'll link you guys to the Haas.
I told him to take it to Irwindale.
Yeah, that should be the thing. We should convince him.
The thing is that sucks about it is
California permits.
Dude, there's so many food permits I didn't realize you had to get. He's obviously all like set up and decked out to serve anywhere in Arizona. But I'm like, dude, let's take the Haas doggy cart to Irwindale, and I wanted to create a hot dog that's a SpaghettiO hot dog.
Dude,
so you get a bun, put some hot dogs in it, and pour a can of SpaghettiOs on it, and we can just give them out all day long.
Yeah.
Delicious.
It sounds pretty good.
I did. So yeah, anyways, he was like, well, here's the thing is my brother goes to like all these NASCAR races, drag boat races, Top Fuel. My brother's a diehard race car guy, right?
Yeah.
My whole family is. He's like, dude, what better way to go to a race track and have it support itself and still be able to party at night, wake up, sell some dogs, so he's just going to go on a big old nationwide racing tour and race and drive and kind of a fun concept.
That's the way of doing, man. And their dogs are not like the typical, bun, hot dog, and
no, dude. Like he's going like pizza dog, macaroni dog,
Sonoran
dog, Chicago dog.
The cool stuff.
Yeah, he's doing the real doggy style, man.
Yeah.
Like it's super funny. We never talk about this. Like me and my brother.
He
doesn't know our hot dog infatuations. Like he doesn't know it. Mine particularly. He's like, hey, dude, look what I got. Yeah. But yeah, anyways.
One more thing before we go.
Yeah.
Yes.
I heard a rumor a while back before the season even started about Corey's program this year. And it was actually involved Larry. And I heard that you were going to bring a YouTube personality to each round and have them on your pit crew. I think that's something you should do next season.
Yeah,
for sure.
that
like
was
a
definitely
video series.
That's something I was gonna do outside of like. Obviously, I didn't run many rounds.
I mean, you have to start by going to the rounds.
Yeah. I can still hang. Yeah, if we don't go all the rounds together, I still hang out with all of them. But it's like, once again, these are dudes that I relate with and have fun with, and then I bring them to all the rounds. Yeah. And it'd just be something that we do anyways. But yeah, that's something I was gonna do for sure. I'm still planning on doing it because I had Sexy Sax Man. What do you got?
Larry Enticer.
Larry the Enticer. Who else did we have?
You got to get the Cash Me Outside girl.
Oh God! I would drive my car off a cliff.
Yeah, I'll just.
Or I would purposely put it into a wall and say, "All right, we got to pack."
Not to mention, right now it's probably like super expensive to book her.
She just got a record.
That's the thing is, a lot of these dudes are into motorsports anyways, and just out for having a good time. So it's like, hey, let's get out there, and you could probably just hang out and change the tire. But anyways, but yeah, that was something I was going to do. It's funny you brought that up.
PewDiePie and throw some racial slurs.
Oh God, Paco! No, you're the only one allowed that can do that. But yeah. Anyways, the other thing we gotta do, obviously, AEM intakes, McLeod.
killing it.
The Patreons.
Oh,
We're gonna
dude,
be at Irwindale.
We're gonna be at Irwindale with all of us.
We're actually unveiling a really cool car. I don't think we can talk about it yet.
Yeah,
but we're
no.
unveiling a really cool car at the AM booth, which is probably going to be one of the coolest cars
that has ever been unveiled.
has ever been unveiled at Irwindale.
At any event ever.
I'm excited.
And if you don't like it, the guy who's driving is going to probably kill you. So we'll leave it at that.
Probably.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll leave it at that. But anyways, guys, thanks again for tuning in. Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Chelsea. Paco, thank you. Thank
Real
you,
quick,
Sam.
yeah. So again,
thank you,
just
Big Balls.
thank again to our Patreons.
Yep.
You guys are killing it. We would.
Paco, are we going to drag out this intro, this outro?
No, just wanted to make like big emphasis on the Patreon.
Oh yeah, no,
just,
you guys
to
are
make
are
sure
heroes.
that you guys can go on patreon.com/MaximumDriftcast if you want to support the show. You can donate $1. You can donate $2. There's still like I think 2 or 3 more spots to get the spaghetti mugs. We have I think 4 or 5 more more supporters that we're about to send them their mugs. That they're all boxed. I mean, I wish I had them
I
around.
was looking for an example.
Yeah,
Yep.
but yeah. We'll send you guys your mugs. Hopefully this week they're going out for the last ones.
batches.
The last ones are actually the most recent ones. Thanks a lot for your support. And if you still want to come and support the show, you still can. $1 means a lot. $2
Right.
means a lot more.
Awesome.
It's up to you. But thanks a lot. And Nick, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
And if you keep winning and you keep doing badass shit, you're probably going to be here more often.
All right, dudes. We'll see you later.
Goodbye, Corey. Goodbye, Brian.
Paco, you're going on. You're
God damn
rambling.
it.
Bye, guys.
I'm just saying goodbye. And have a good night.